Gregory, it's a tough day. Look at Donald Kavanagh, he's singing even to you. Pull up that microphone to Donald Kavanagh there. Sing it away there, Donald. Go there, Donald. Give us a blast there.
Always believing.
Go. Come on, Donald. You don't have his microphone up. Come here, congratulations yourself, Caroline, and to Greg. Gold. I'm expecting to see it today. Where is it?
Don't know, Caroline has it.
You probably have it melted down already. Can I get a wee gold ring or something?
It's far from gold.
Come here, how was it then?
Was interesting night. Good to be a part of it. Like,
yeah. How did you feel? Do you know when? Do you know?
Yeah.
What was it? Because I've never been, right, and you're surrounded by the best in the industry, right? And you're look, oh, gee, it's white heavy. Get the fork lifted. Oh, thanks, Katie. God, that is a brave weight in that. Now tell the truth. God, there's a fine piece, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it real gold? Is it?
No, it's not. It's like wood and plastic. Yeah.
It's heavy. Tell the truth. Did you kiss it? Do you know how to kiss the dog?
No, I'm not really into this kind of thing, to be honest with you. But it was lovely.
You kept it. I was hoping to see you on Friday to wish you the best luck because you were playing all cool and calm and stuff as you do, and then I wanted to give you a bit of encouragement and stuff on Friday. And then you disappeared on me.
Well, sure.
But sure, wasn't
Long
it nice?
drive to Kilkenny. Yeah,
you were saying 4.5 hours. But what about the buzz? What? How did you feel, or what was it?
Good. I haven't been at one of those things before. It was good fun. It was good fun. There was a lot. Oh, everyone was there.
Everybody that's
all
anybody.
All the people I criticised, they were all there.
All right, and everybody thinking, "Oh God, I bet you Caroline was keeping you right."
All I said, I've got a few sideways looks.
Caroline was saying, "Avoid table 10 there now." There's your one you had on there.
No, listen, that was good. It was fine.
And tell me this: these are questions my mother would want to know. Right, what was the fashion like?
Black tie.
Black tie.
Yeah. I walked in. I was walking in the front door, and just as I was walking in, a lady turned around with a bottle of drink or something in her hand.
Champagne?
No, it wasn't. It was like a bottle of beer or something. Turned around,
splashed,
banged straight into me, all over my tuxedo.
Are you serious?
Yep. I hadn't even got in the door.
What do you call that fancy lacy thing? You didn't wear a dickie, but what do you call that?
So then, it was a dickie, but Donald Kavanagh says it's like something you hang on the front door at Christmas.
It was like, I thought there was something like
Clint Eastwood. A bit harsh from Donald. It's not like you, Donald, that really. You're normally a little bit more,
subtle.
Yeah.
And, yeah. What, did you get talking to anybody interesting? Do you know what you talked to majority of people?
Not really. No.
Yeah. And what did you have to eat?
I was chatting to Dave Duke from my radio. I keep bumping into him for some reason. Everywhere I go, we end up chatting. What did I have to eat? A bit of beef.
Right.
The starter was tiny.
There's probably salmon on the menu too then?
Was there? I think there was some fish. There wasn't salmon.
Was there?
Sea bass. The fella says to me, "Do you want a starter?" I says, "Well, what's the choice?" He says, "There's no choice. Do you want a starter?" So I says, "Yeah, I'll have that."
See, when your category came up, right, how did your belly feel?
I honestly...
Tell us the truth.
I wasn't really bothered.
No, but wee butterflies?
No.
And how did you speech or anything like that afterwards?
No, nothing.
Oh, that was good. Well done.
It's great, and it's great for the station. It's great for the listeners.
Good on you.
And all. So that was good fun, and it's nice.
You know what you have to do now?
What?
You got to win another one.
Right.
Keep up the good work.
Put the hat trick up, boy.
All right, good luck to you.
Listen, good. Thanks for you can touch it.
I did. Okay. I don't like it anymore because I didn't win it, but it's all right.
We'll get you one.
It looks all right. It's a bit goldy looking.
All right, it is the 9 till noon show. 3 minutes past 9. Apologies to Donald. I'm sure he won't mind. Now we get the 9 o'clock update. Good morning again, Donald.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. The weekend saw another 4 people lose their lives on Irish roads. One of them in Donegal yesterday afternoon. A male motorcyclist in his 40s died following a single vehicle collision outside Lenties. The road from Frosses to Lenties remains closed as Gardaí carry out a technical examination. They're urging anyone who witnessed the collision or has dashcam footage to come forward. In Roscommon, a 25-year-old man was killed in a single vehicle crash near Athleague yesterday morning. 2 pedestrians, a teenage boy and a man in his 40s, lost their lives in separate incidents in Lisdole, County Kerry, and close to Dundalk in County Louth. It brings the total number of people who've died on Irish roads this year to 144. GPs in Donegal are calling on the Health Minister to carry out an external review into the emergency department at Letterkenny University Hospital. 78 doctors have written to Minister Stephen Donnelly over worsening waiting times for patients in the emergency department. They're also concerned about ambulance drop-offs at the hospital, with some patients waiting hours in ambulances. They say the situation could get even worse when the winter surge hits. Donegal GP Dr. Kieran O'Farrill says Minister Donnelly needs to take action.
The feeling at this stage is that the improvements that we'd like to see aren't happening, and that's why we've taken this step to ask the Minister to look into the situation here in Donegal. We feel that at this stage now there could be an external review.
Professionals working in children's disability services are concerned they're not reporting to a manager related to their discipline. 5 representative HSCP organisations say they're worried about clinical governance, risk management and the erosion of professional autonomy. They say it significantly impacts on their members' abilities to deliver services to children with disabilities. The CEO of the Irish Society of Chartered Physiotherapists, Dr. Myra O'Meara, says it's an extremely complex area that managers need to understand.
So we're asking for the Chief Clinical Officer and the HSE to engage with the organisations to help us reintroduce discipline managers. We also want specific competencies written up around scope of practice so that people in these roles know exactly what they're required to do, and also have better supervision and training for them, as these are not straightforward roles. These are children with complex disabilities.
Israel has formally declared war on Islamist group Hamas after a weekend of violence that saw 1,100 people killed. Militants attacked southern Israeli towns, killing 260 people at a music festival. They also took dozens of hostages. In response, there were hundreds of strikes overnight on targets in the Gaza Strip. Sky's Dominic Waghorn is in Ashkelon. He says Israeli forces are being frank about how long this fighting is likely to last.
What the Israelis say is this is a very different situation to what they've had in the past, in scope and scale, and that we should expect a long and hard conflict in Gaza itself. They say this is full-on war.
Rather cloudy this morning with some areas of mist or fog and a chance of some patchy rain or drizzle. Sunny spells expected to develop this afternoon, warm and humid with top temperatures 18 to 21 degrees Celsius in moderate southwest breezes. Regular updates on our website, highlandradio.com. We're back with news again at 10 o'clock.
So you're saying mental health difficulties can be smaller things?
Yeah.
Like trouble sleeping?
Yeah.
Or if I'm always stressed, like?
Yeah.
Or often anxious?
They're all part of your mental health.
Thought those were separate.
Nope. They're all connected.
Hey, how do you know all this anyway?
Sure, I've been there myself.
Anxiety, ongoing stress, low mood or trouble sleeping, they're all part of your mental health. Make the connection and find support that can help at yourmentalhealth.ie from the HSE.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. And now,
applications are now open for the Donegal
the Northwest, The 9 till Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, good morning to you. 7 minutes past 9, Monday the 9th of October 2023. Good morning to you. You're very welcome along to a brand new week of the 9 till Noon Show. I hope your weekend was okay, obviously. I say that with very much Creasla and everyone affected by Creasla in my mind. A very poignant and important day Saturday was, and I just hope, as I say, we talked about in advance how difficult it was going to be for everyone who lost someone or everyone who was affected by it. But hopefully some comfort was derived and strength was found, and people can continue the difficult move forward. I think everyone had Creasla in their mind at the weekend. Our lines are open for you to get involved in the conversation. Start your own one, 086 60 25,000. WhatsApp and text to that number, 086 60 25,000. Or give us a call on 07491 25,000. The email's open for you right now. Comments at highlandradio.com. And as always, you can watch the show across our social media channels. I'll tell you more about that a little later on. But starting with the Derry People Donegal News, Saturday marked the first year anniversary of the Creasla tragedy, which claimed the lives of 10 people and injured 8 others. Gathering in their hundreds, families, friends and locals met for a special memorial service adjacent to the site of the tragedy. As 10 candles flickered, the reassuring words of parish priest Father John Joe Duffy filled the noiseless village. The last year has been a difficult journey, as one can imagine, a journey of mourning, a journey of healing and a journey of learning to cope, particularly for those that this tragedy took. 10 beautiful souls from those who were injured in body and all of us who were injured in mind on that day, he said. With the journey of recovery still continuing 1 year on, Father Duffy said, the duration of that journey is unknown. Unlike most journeys that we set out on in life, in this journey of Creasla, we know neither the length nor the duration of the road ahead, but we know that we will travel it together. Today we hold in a particular way most at the forefront of our thoughts and our hearts those that suffered the pain of loneliness and all who are recovering from this tragedy. And as you would expect, it's Father John Joe Duffy just strikes the perfect tone in his words and understanding of what people have endured and are going through. The Derry News this morning, Derry and Strabane had more children admitted to Woodlands Juvenile Justice Centre than any council area in the north last year. The Woodlands Centre in County Down holds young people between the ages of 10 and 17 who have committed offences. Derry and Strabane had the highest number of admissions to the youth jail, with 44 according to official Department of Justice statistics. Belfast was second with 34. On to the national newspapers now, and a lot of coverage of the escalation of the situation, which it's war now in between in Israel and what has happened over there. Israel formally declared a state of war yesterday as the death toll from Saturday's Hamas cross-border attack rose to more than 700, with more than 2,000 wounded. Israeli government officials confirmed that more than 100 people, civilians and soldiers, were seized by militants and taken to Gaza, including young children and elderly civilians. As the impact of Saturday's surprise attack was followed by a rising death toll, Israel continued its military build-up. Tens of thousands of reserves have received emergency call-up orders, but it will be days before the army is ready to launch a ground incursion into Gaza. And there's a great deal of coverage of this, as you can imagine. But questions will really be asked of the Israeli government as to how they didn't know it was going to happen, or how their world-leading defence and monitoring and constant activity in the area did not pick this up. It's incredibly complex, and I think you can sort of see in the coverage and commentary on it that people have very differing views on that. We'll talk about that a little later on. Of course, budget 2024 just around the corner. The Irish Independent continues its coverage. Mortgage interest relief worth more than $1,000 to homeowners, and the introduction of pay-related unemployment payments were at the centre of the coalition budget talks last night. The government leaders, along with Finance Minister Michael McGrath and Public Expenditure Minister Pascal Donoghue, spent last evening in government buildings debating the final elements ahead of tomorrow's announcement. This included drafting a tax relief scheme for mortgage holders who have been hit with waves of interest rate hikes due to record levels of inflation. You might be eligible to that if you're on a variable mortgage or a tracker mortgage. I think those are the two groups that are likely to benefit from that. There'll also be help for mortgage holders who are in receipt of social welfare payments through the Department of Social Protection. There were also high-level talks about introducing pay-related benefits for people who lose their jobs, which could see them paid 60% of their weekly salary, or up to €450 a week for 6 months after they become unemployed. Social Protection Minister Heather Humphreys has championed the scheme, which would see graduated payments paid to the unemployed so their income does not drop off a cliff edge once they lose their jobs. Just some of the latest speculation surrounding the budget there. On to the Irish Daily Mail now, and RTE's slow approach to root and branch reform will cost the government key seats, ministers fear. The most recent figures on TV licences show the slump in sales, which has cost the station over €10 million since the Ryan Tubridy payment scandal broke in July, continued through September. The figures show a massive fall off, more than 20,000 in the sale of TV licences, 45,440 in September compared to 66,281 in the same period last year. The overall drop was just under a third, and on some weeks was as high as 40%. So Catherine Murphy, Vice Chair of the Public Accounts Committee, warned a very large chunk of RTE's costs are now coming from the state rather than the licence fee, and we should be concerned over the increased level of RTE's direct dependence on the state. And a senior government figure warned the station is acquiring a dangerous addiction to public monies. They are like Dear Michael with the hole in the bucket. The gap can never be filled. And they're concerned then, of course, that it could have an impact then on their election chances. On to the Irish Daily Mirror, and a story I wonder, does it surprise you? Priestless funerals are likely to become commonplace throughout Ireland before the end of the decade as lay-led ceremonies become the norm. That's the stark prediction from the Association of Catholic Priests, which has warned grieving families to expect radical changes at the services. They said that this is an unavoidable It's an unavoidable impact due to declining clergy numbers. Father Roy Donovan, a spokesperson for the group, which has 1,000 members, said he believes ceremonies will be led by lay ministers and without funeral masses. He believes they will be firmly established in more populated urban areas across Ireland in as little as a few years. A number of dioceses, including Dublin, have already taken the lead by introducing training programmes for parishioners to ease the burden on overworked priests. So that looks like it is inevitable because the number of priests is falling, and it's quite an older population as well. And we already know, and you know, in local areas to you, priests are stretched across parishes now, so I suppose it's not a great surprise. A record €4.5 million was raised for motor neuron disease last year, partially due to Charlie Bird's climb. The former broadcaster has the debilitating disease, but it hasn't stopped him tackling challenges to help raise awareness and funds. Last year, he and a team of supporters climbed Croagh Patrick, while others carried out walks around the country. A total of $4.5 million raised last year for MND, which is remarkable, thanks to Charlie's sacrifices, but also the generosity of the Irish public. And lastly and least, Big Brother's back. I started watching it last night to see if I'd be interested, and then I didn't watch it any longer because I was bored with it after about 10 minutes. But it's returned to television with a barman, makeup artist, butcher and youth worker among the contestants entering the famous house. The influential social experiment, which sees housemates live together in a custom-built home for weeks without access to the outside world in a bid to win £100,000, has opened its doors for the first time in 5 years. I don't see how it works in modern society, if you know what I mean. The stuff that people are interested in kind of can't happen anymore like they would have in the previous episodes, a series. And I'm not saying they should, don't get me wrong, but it's just very interesting to see how that programme, or it's not really that interesting, that's the problem. It potentially could be interesting to see how that programme can survive in this modern world. But anyway, did you watch it? Are you interested? Let us know. 086 60 25,000. That's the line for all of your calls and comments. As you know, WhatsApp. You can WhatsApp a voice message to us as well. And you can give us a call on 074 91 25,000.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra Mountaintop Letterkenny, the C-Store National Large Forecourt of the Year for 2022.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
At Allstate, we provide flexible working options that make work for you. You can choose condensed working or a flexible start or finish time. Choose to work from home or the office whenever you want. Don't miss out on the moments that matter to you. Make work for you. Search Allstate NI Careers today.
Don't miss the most heartwarming film of the year, The Miracle Club.
Congratulations, you're coming to Lourdes. You can't go. What'll I do on me own?
Go back to bed. Starring Laura Linney. I'm in a place I swore I would never come back to. Academy Award winner Kathy Bates.
I never hated you more than I loved you.
And Academy Award winner Maggie Smith.
Even when you don't believe, there's always hope.
The Miracle Club. In cinemas October 13th. Rated 12A.
New this week at Home Store and More. All living room throws are half price. But better hurry, because when all the half price living room throws are gone, they're gone. Also, all Halloween is still all half price.
But when all the half price Halloween ghosts and ghouls and super scary devilish decorations are gone, they're definitely gone.
Drop by your local Home Store and More, or visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. New store now open in Frascati Centre, Blackrock, Dublin. Home Store and More. A happy home.
With a high digital online skills course, you'll feel a real difference.
I can listen to all the music I like. The bus app that's coming out, it's brilliant.
Anything you want to know, it's at their fingertips.
They're small things, but they mean something.
Learn essential online skills with simple, accessible lessons at highdigital.ie or free phone 1800 20 30 30. Brought to you by Vodafone Ireland Foundation and Alone. Vodafone. Together we can.
Search imotors.ie to visit our digital showroom with the largest selection of used cars available in the Northwest. We are sure to have your next car. All our vehicles are pre-inspected by our trained technicians and all our cars come with up to 12 months warranty. Visit us in Letterkenny or Malin or imotors.ie.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
The time's just approaching 9:20. Now, in an unprecedented move, as far as I'm aware anyway, a group of 78 GPs working across our county have written to Health Minister Stephen Donnelly to highlight concerns over patient safety at Letterkenny University Hospital. It calls for urgent action at the emergency department. It calls for the Minister and senior officials to launch an external review into the ED at LUH after GPs were left dissatisfied by the proposed scale and ambition of plans laid out by hospital management. GPs said in the letter that some patients are refusing to go to the emergency department and would rather take their chances and stay at home. And unfortunately, that is the experience that we hear as well through these channels. Dr. Padraig McGuinness is a spokesperson for the group, a GP too, of course. Thank you very much for your time this morning, Padraig.
Good morning, Greg.
I mean, when you get a group of GPs like that coming together and wording their views in such a strong manner, things are pretty desperate, I would say.
Absolutely, Greg. I suppose the first thing to say is that this is not about our clinical colleagues, okay? This is not about the great care that they're giving our nursing colleagues, our medical colleagues, the rest of the staff who work in the hospital in extreme, unsafe conditions, who are treating patients in A&E today who've just come off 12-hour night shifts. This is not about them, okay? This is about trying to get them the help and support that they need and that they require. So it's a really important thing to say that at the outset. I suppose to wind back to why the time is now and why the GPs have come together in what is an incredibly unprecedented move. Greg, back in August time, on a random Tuesday in August, in the evening time, there were 14 ambulances backed up at Letterkenny University Hospital waiting to offload their patients. And as a result, there was no ambulance available for Sligo, Donegal or Leitrim. That's really scary, okay? And that's really scary for us as GPs. If we call an ambulance that none is going to come and we're left out in the community looking after patients, a huge, huge patient safety issue. And that means if my patient has a heart attack in Fanet or someone breaks a hip in Glenties or a car crash in Inishowen, there was nobody there to come. And I suppose we're hearing every day from our patients over and over and over again that they get great care when they get in the door, but that they're waiting in some cases 24 hours plus to see a clinician in A&E in Letterkenny or in the emergency department. And that's just really, really unsafe. And we're no longer willing to accept it. And now is the time when we're going to raise a flag and say we're going to advocate for our patients and we're going to say it's no longer good enough.
Yeah, and it gets to a point, doesn't it? And we can't live in a society whereby a GP would be less inclined to refer someone to the ED in the fear that it could actually be counterintuitive to their health. Or counterproductive, to their health. I mean, I'm sure it's happening already, but I mean, we're going to see more of that as outlined in the letter.
Absolutely, Greg. I mean, there's a morbidity and a mortality, so there's a harm and a risk of death of waiting in an A&E department. And so if somebody comes into me today and they're 80 and they're frail and they have a bad chest infection and really they should be admitted for IV antibiotics, I have to weigh up about the risks of that person standing, or sitting in A&E in a hard chair for hours and hours, and then waiting in a trolley maybe for hours to be admitted. I mean, there's a really scary statistic where they did a huge study in the UK of NHS patients, massive millions of patients in the study, and it showed that actually for about every 80 patients who wait more than 5 hours in A&E, by the way, that's all of our patients who wait more than 5 hours in A&E, that there's an excess death within 30 days in that patient cohort. Right. So this is a big deal. Patients waiting in A&E is not just an inconvenience. It's a risk to their health and it's a risk to their life as well. And so we have patients that we're keeping at home that really should be in A&E departments, but we can't because we know that leaving that frail person sitting on a chair for hours and hours and hours has a risk to their health.
And what we see with contact to programs like to this program, and I'm sure it's the same with you, is families might be able to convince someone to go in once. But that's it then. then they say, I'm not going back there. I'm not going because of the long wait, or they're not happy with the outcome of it. Again, we're seeing more and more on this program, and of course, you're a GP. You're going to see it in a far more regular and descriptive fashion from your patients.
I mean, we have this incredible situation where patients are coming in the door and the first thing out of their mouth is, "You're not sending me up, doctor. There's no way I'm doing that. No, I'll take my chance. No, give me an antibiotic. No, do something else." Or, and that's incredible. And, we don't like sending patients to A&E ever, really, and if you look at the statistics of how many patients we actually send to A&E, it's about less than 5%. So you often hear about this, the GPs are sending everybody to A&E. That's not really the story. And, if you look at all the healthcare contacts last year in the health service, about 33 million of them, 29 million are in GP, right? So we are already seeing 88% of patients in the health service is in general practice. And so we send up less than 5% of patients. And at the minute, we're sending up patients who, yes, are very sick, but we're also sending up patients who we have no alternative pathway. So we're sending up patients to the emergency department that actually don't really need to go to the emergency department, but because of a system that's broken, we have nowhere else to send them. So there's patients who do not need to be admitted to hospital, but cannot wait for a year to get an outpatient appointment for something that's serious. And those patients should be seen in alternative pathways. And unfortunately, when we try to raise those issues with the management in LUH, we really did meet a brick wall with them. And we have, it's unprecedented to go to the media with this, but the reason we've done that, Greg, really is because we're not getting any satisfaction from dealing with some of the management locally about getting alternative pathways for patients to the emergency department.
So in layman's terms, what are you calling on the health minister to do? Because you're going right to the top here. I mean, he is the head of the HSC. So, as I say, in ways we can understand, what are you calling for from him? When I say you, I mean you and the 77 other GPs.
Yeah, so the reason we went to the top, Greg, is that we're not getting any answers locally, and we need a national focus on this if we're going to be treated differently in Donegal. There are three main things. The first thing is that we need an external review. So we need somebody else who's going to come in, cut through the bureaucracy of it all, cut through the excuses, quite frankly, and someone who's going to come in and offer solutions and back that up with the resources that it needs. It's no surprise to anybody that Letterkenny University Hospital is under-resourced in comparison to the rest of the country. The second thing by far is that we need our medical assessment unit open. So that has been open in the past on an ad hoc basis. Sometimes it's open, sometimes it's not. It's not protected. And I want to give an example of this, Greg, because I think this is, this will make it clear to patients. If you come into me today and you have a query clot in your leg, right? So we think you have a clot in your leg, you have some symptoms of it. I have no choice but to send you to A&E or to the emergency department. But you're actually very well. You're fine. I can treat you here, but you need an investigation done to confirm with a scan today or tomorrow or the next day whether or not you have a clot. So I have no choice but to send you to the emergency department. You're going to sit there, be triaged after a couple of hours, then you'll sit there for maybe 24 hours to be seen. Then you may or may not get your scan that day. And our AD colleagues are telling us, the consultants are telling us that they have to admit patients to get those scans. So the patient has to be admitted, they take up a bed, they take up nursing care as well that they don't need. In loads of other hospitals across the country and across, in Derry, 15 minutes away, that patient would go by appointment for their scan or go by their appointments that I can arrange as a GP to the medical assessment unit to get that scan in the next few days. They're in and out in an hour. The diagnosis is confirmed or not in an hour. And that patient did not take up a bed. They did not clog up A&E. They did not need nursing care. That's an example of 10 or 15 or 20 conditions that easily are managed in medical assessment units across the country. And instead, our medical assessment unit is full of patients. Mm-hmm. So patients who are in trolleys this morning will get admitted to the medical assessment unit, not to have medical assessment, but actually because the beds are needed. And so in other hospitals across the country, not reinventing the wheel, the medical assessment unit works really, really well. Staff, and we have a brilliant consultant there already. He just needs the chance to do the job, and he needs the beds and the ability to do it. That's one thing. The other thing, Greg, is we can't continue to do the same thing and expect a different outcome. I mean, that's just insanity. And when, we have a forum with the hospital management, but we're just really not getting anywhere with it. And for us, we need a task force of GPs, ED consultants, the ambulance service, the community services, community hospitals, where we sit down. At this rate now, it needs to be once a week and find solutions to this, working together. And that needs to be chaired by clinicians, actually, not by hospital management. and it needs to have a senior sales representative on that, because the only way of doing that is to cut through some of the bureaucracy and make sure that, if we're like this and we have no beds and patients are waiting for hours in October, God help us for December and January, because we're going to, if we've no beds and no ambulances in August, what's it going to be like when flu comes? What's it going to be like when COVID hits? What's it going to be like when RSV hits later in the year? And as GPs, we're really scared. And that's what I would say. We're scared that our patients are going to be sitting on trolleys and suffering for worse outcomes as a result.
I mean, obviously there are different levels of command and management and what have you, but just to try and drill down to the relationship at the moment, either you as an individual or GPs as a collective, have you lost faith in the management at Letterkenny University Hospital? Now, I'm not asking that question looking for a head and a stick, but it reads like you have, okay, and even to the point whereby you want to be discussing things with clinicians and different types of people that aren't necessarily management. So, to be clear, do you as a collective have faith in the current management at Letterkenny University Hospital?
Big statement to make, Greg, for sure. I think the best way of putting that is we don't have faith in them to currently fix the crisis in A&E. Okay, so A&E is broken. And that, when all the GPs met in Zoom back in August, that was the word that was continuously said by everyone. It is broken. Okay, the system, if your patients are waiting for 24 hours in A&E, it should be seen then that it's broken. And so the management have had lots of opportunities to fix that in reality over the last 5 or 6 or 7 years, and that hasn't happened. So if you ask me if we have confidence in the management team, I'd say we don't have confidence in them to fix this current situation with the emergency department. And that's why we're calling for external help.
Yeah, and this goes all the way to the top. Last time I interviewed Stephen Donnelly, he was like, well, we've increased funding in there by 30 million. And you're probably going to ask, well, where's that money going now, or what's going on? I mean, would you expect him to take this seriously and set up a meeting or a team or whatever it might be, and take this as seriously as clearly it is? I don't know how many GPs are in Donegal, but a large proportion of them here. And when you actually look down through the names, and I would say most people listening, their GP's names on this letter, it really is striking. So it can't be ignored, really. Sorry for the convoluted intro there, Pádraig. It can't be ignored by senior Celta management, and particularly, I think, the health minister.
Well, let me be clear and put your patients, or my patients and your listeners on notice that if we're ignored, we're not going to allow that to happen. Okay, so this is the first time, I guess, that the GPs have wrote in such huge numbers. And let me put your listeners on notice that if we're ignored, we're taking you to the streets. Okay, so if we don't get the outcome that we want and that our patients deserve and that our patients need, then we will take to the streets. And I guess to go back to what you're talking about, if you bring sales to management on now or somebody from LUH, they're going to give you a myriad of things that they're doing right, and they're going to give, which is true. With Pathfinder, which is a brilliant program, we have some good innovative things. There's a new building coming for part of the A&E, but that's not going to help us this winter. Excuses are not working here, and excuses are no good to my 80-year-old patient who I send up today, who still will wait for 24 hours to see a doctor in A&E. So I suppose, do I think they're going to do something about it? Greg, we're not going to let them not. And the GPs were really clear on that this is not just a bounce in a letter and see what happens. This is the first step of asking them to sit up and treat us in the same way that the rest of the country. I just want to give you one. I know people don't want to be bamboozled by stats, but this is an important one. Of all our ambulance services across the country, we have the longest drop-off times, and we already have one of the longest commute times. So the average drop-off time in Letterkenny A&E for emergency department for ambulances is 1 hour and 30 minutes. For Dublin, that's less than an hour. For Galway, it's 43 minutes. For Ballinasloe, it's less than 50 minutes. So we're doing something wrong in Letterkenny, and we're not getting the resources that we need, and we're no longer willing to be the poor cousin and be left behind.
Powerful stuff. Okay, well, I mean, obviously, we'll speak to you as things move on. Hopefully, it's in a positive way. But even if it is a case of organising people, we look forward to speaking to you and see what the story is there. I know you're incredibly busy, like all of your colleagues, so I really appreciate your time this morning, and good morning to you, Pádraig. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
That's Dr. Pádraig McGuinness there, GP and spokesperson for the group. And it's hard to put into context how important this is. As you heard from Pádraig there, it's unprecedented. 78 GPs met via Zoom call. And they have sent this very strongly worded letter, which is available on our website, to Stephen Donnelly. It's CC'd Robert Watt, Tony Canavan, Colm Henry. They don't have faith in the current management team to fix the problem that's there at the moment. They wanted, effectively, a plan put in place whereby the external people brought in and also proposing things like those weekly meetings, which sound, really quite significant and important. And as you heard from Pádraig there, in the clearest possible way, that if the Minister doesn't act on this, the GPs will lead the public out into the street on this issue, which is incredibly significant, I think. What's your views? 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, WhatsApps and texts. So give us a call on 07491 25,000.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Tickets! Get your tickets. Arsenal, Chelsea, Leeds, Liverpool, Manchester United, Spurs and more. Home games and all the goals scored. Don't be shy. It only takes a minute to win it.
It's Cadbury FC's biggest football ticket giveaway ever, plus thousands of other prizes to be won every game week. Just head to matchtheminute.cadburyfc.com to get your match minute. If a goal's scored in that minute, you win. Enter today. T's and C's apply.
Well, Grace, how are you today?
I'm good. I've just been down to the Made to Measure Fireplaces showroom in Creasla. They have an incredible selection of over 40 colours for kitchen worktops. And guess what? For a limited time, they're offering a 40% discount on any electric fire when you purchase a worktop there.
40%? That's an amazing deal, Grace.
Absolutely. And trust me, if the discount alone doesn't sway you, their huge selection of fireplaces, stoves, wood pellet burners, beams and stone cladding certainly will.
Contact Made to Measure Fireplaces Creasla on 074 91 38 365, on Facebook, Instagram and on mtmfireplaces.ie.
Welcome to the Spa at Orchids, one of Europe's largest spas, at the Holyrood Hotel, Bundoran. Discover tranquility in our Japanese-themed garden, boasting 7 treatment rooms, seaweed baths, and a secret garden with an outside hot tub and sauna. Now, let me take you to the heart of Bundoran, where you'll find the Holyrood Hotel Spa and Leisure Centre. Don't miss out on our exclusive midweek hotel specials. More information at holyroodhotel.com.
Christmas shopping just got easier with Irwin Expert Electrical's layaway service now open. Secure those must-have gifts from Ninja, Apple, Samsung, LG, Dyson or Sage with just a deposit. Simply choose items you love and pay for them in convenient installments that suit your budget. No stress, no rush. Gift smarter with Irwin Expert Electrical, Letterkenny and Buncrana.
Donegal Denture Clinic, Letterkenny. Denture problems? We can help. At Donegal Denture Clinic, we customise, personalise and tailor your dentures to suit you. Call us for a free consultation on 91 25 25 3. Find us at Ballyrain, Letterkenny, beside Rossum College. Medical cards welcome. For all your denture needs, call Donegal Denture Clinic on 91 25 25 3. Online at donegaldentureclinic.ie.
OK, some of your comments coming in so far this morning. Our public representatives should hang their heads in shame that GPs feel they have to do this. It's a clear failing on their behalf to represent us in Dáil Éireann. At long last, the professionals are speaking up, says a caller. No mention of the large influx of extra citizens to the county into a hospital which couldn't cope as it was. Go down to the ED there and have a look around who's in there. I'm not sure that's really the contributing factor here. This has been ongoing for quite some time. Totally agree. It's time we took to the streets on this issue, says another listener. Another here, well, the doctors in Donegal have spoken. The ED in Letterkenny is not fit for purpose, which asks the bigger question, is Letterkenny University Hospital fit for purpose altogether under this management? Time it's changed and heads roll. Another, why when they were building the new ED did they not also include a minor injuries unit, freeing up the ED for major issues? It's crazy. And God love the staff there doing their best, but can they? But they're going to be burnt out by the winter months, says a listener. I don't see the sense of the hospital renovating 6-bed wards to go down to 4-bed wards when they're moving more and more immigrants into the country. You'd think they'd be building extensions onto the hospital. The reason for the government's attitude to everything in Donegal, re the ED, Mica, infrastructure, etc., is the fact they've wrote off Donegal as a Sinn Féin area. Very simple. All right, that's an interesting one. OK. Right. OK. Dara Lyons is the general manager at Port Salon Golf Club. He joins us on the programme now. Thanks for joining us. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm okay. Unfortunately, though, we're waking up on a Monday morning to talk about a very important piece of life-saving equipment disappeared. Do we know when the defib was taken from the site, Dara?
Unfortunately, we don't know exactly, Greg. It will be checked kind of every weekend, so we know it was there last weekend, say, but on last Friday evening it would have been checked again, and we noticed that it was missing from the outside cabinet. So, we don't know exactly what day, but somewhere between Monday and Friday of last week, it's disappeared.
And is the defib has been taken? I don't know how it was stored. Is it stored like with the keypad and all? Was it taken out of that, or was the whole thing taken off the wall, or what's happened, Dara?
No, so it's stored in an outside cabinet just on the front of our clubhouse. So it used to be stored on the inside of the clubhouse, but we felt just being in a rural area and been lucky enough to have a defib on site that we would leave it outside so that it is available for anybody who needs it in the local community as well. So it's not a locked box, but it's a heated, powered box that we invested in about 3 years ago to move it outside. So you kind of don't think it's something that somebody's going to take.
No, you don't. And as you say, God forbid if someone takes ill on the course, but as well, given its location, if someone in the wider community needed access to this, that's why it's there. That's why it's a life-saving piece of equipment.
Absolutely, it's very, very important for us that people in the area as well as golfers can get access to it at any time. And we're thankfully, we have 2 defibs on site. We actually have another one on the golf course as well, which is very important. And look, thankfully, the ambulance service in Donegal have kindly given us a replacement over the weekend. We had a very busy weekend here hosting a tournament, and I suppose our biggest fear would have been, if somebody had needed it and we went to the cabinet and it wasn't there, it would have been a real disaster. So thankfully that's been averted, but still very disappointing to find somebody has taken it.
And how difficult would it be for someone to sort of access this part of the grounds and to take it and drive off or walk off with it, Dara? This is not the type of thing that happens by accident, like.
Yeah, it's not very difficult for somebody to come in and take it, because we don't want it to be difficult for them if they need it. 100%. It's a lit box at night. It's quite obvious, what it is. And it's there for all to see. You would kind of want somebody to have it if they need it. So it's not difficult to access at all. Somebody could have driven up at any time. We're in the process of going through the cameras. The actual camera, it would be in a blind spot, but we can see 5 feet from the defib. So the footage is with the Gardaí in Milford, and they may be able to find somebody walking away with it, but it's quite a bit of footage to go through at the same time. So we are hopeful that we'll.
I do recall us having another incident like this, and as it turned out, it was taken because someone believed it was needed, and then it turned up a day or two later. Is that a possibility?
Well, hopefully that's the case. That's what we're hopeful of, and that's why we put it out on social media, and we're hopeful that that's the case. And if that is the case, then that's exactly what it's there for. And somebody in a panic may have needed it, and that wouldn't be it wouldn't be top of their list to just let us know. They have more important issues to deal with if that's the case, if somebody needed it. So that would be the best outcome, and hopefully that is the case. But
you have to cover all bases, and in case there is a criminal element to this, the Gardaí have been informed that CCTV footage is there and will be gone through. So if someone has taken it for the wrong reasons, it's likely that they're going to be identified. So best to come forward now if that is the case, if there's a criminal element to this, I think.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. And fair play for having the system in place to check it there on a weekly basis, Dara. Thanks very much for that. I hope it turns up really, really soon. I really do.
Hopefully, Greg.
Okay.
Thanks for your time.
Bye-bye. And as Dara mentioned there, local emergency services have stepped up and replaced it in the meantime. But still, Dara Lyons, General Manager there of Port Salon Golf Club. It was noticed missing on Friday, but it may have gone missing in the days leading up to that. So if you know anything about that, obviously contact the Gardaí, the golf club, or give us a call here and we can pass on any information. 08660 25000.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Donuts, freshly made to order, are now available at Smokes and Grills in Letterkenny. At the end of your meal, the end of the day, the end of the week, because really, there's never a bad time. Mouth-watering, fresh donuts with a selection of sauces to sit in or take away at Smokes and Grills. Also, great for a special party treat. Indulge yourself today with freshly made donuts in the new Smokes and Grills at Riverside Retail Park, Letterkenny.
Are you ready for unmissable magic? Are you ready for winter in Dublin? November's longer evenings when the city lights shine even brighter. Chock-a-block with festive fun in December. And unmissable live music and must-see events in January. That's 3 whole months of winter wonder just waiting for you. Get ready for the buzz of our bustling city streets. It's enchanting, unforgettable fun. Make your plans today at visitdublin.com. Winter in Dublin. It's magic. Brought to you by Folja Ireland.
Bingo every Monday night at Halfway House Bingo Burnfoot. Doors open 7:30 with eyes down at 8:30. €2,500 must go. The snowball is now €1,650 on 45 numbers or less. If you're not in, you can't win. That's Halfway House Bingo tonight at 8:30.
Set yourself up for Slimming World success at Dunnes Stores. We've got a great range of 33 Slimming World products, from sweet and sour chicken noodles for lunch to a hearty beef lasagna for dinner. All now exclusively available at Dunnes Stores. Order online for delivery or find them in the frozen aisle and save at the till with a 5 off 25 grocery voucher. Try the Slimming World range today, exclusively at Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next in-store grocery shop of €25 or more. Range available in selected stores only.
Join me, Marty Friel, this and every Friday night from 8 for Rockin' Hits on Highland Radio in association with Arena 7 Letterkenny, the best family entertainment complex around with bowling, laser quest, soft play centre and more. Visit arena7.ie.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport, where you can now fly daily to London Heathrow with Aer Lingus and connect via Heathrow to over 80 destinations worldwide, including Boston, New York and more.
OK, let's have a look at that weather forecast now. And I can tell you that today, Monday, rather cloudy this morning with some areas of mist or fog and the chance of a little patchy rain or drizzle. Sunny spells are expected to develop during the afternoon. Warm temperatures still up in the high teens, early 20s. OK, we are now joined by 2 guests. Firstly, Patsy Fitzsimmons, Head of Complaints and Investigations with the Decision Support Service. Service. Good morning to you, Patsy. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Joe. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
It's great to have you with us. And Helen Rochford-Brennans from Sligo and joins us as well. Good morning, Helen.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. No, it's our pleasure to have you. Helen, we might start with you if that's okay. You have dementia now for 10 years, over 10 years now.
Yes, I have Alzheimer's. And for me, I suppose this is really important, and for people, for all people with whatever form of dementia they have, it's important that we have this decision support service, because Patsy, up until now, many people, were under the Lunacy Act. We were back in the Victorian era. So I'm glad to see that is abolished, and I'm also glad to see wards of court, because people with dementia, primarily people with dementia, honestly, when you hear over and over from families that their loved ones were made wards of court. The main thing is for us that I suppose we were deprived of our liberty and we couldn't make our decisions. Now, I can make my own decisions at the moment with the support of my son. I can make everyday decisions about my life, about my estate, about whatever I need. But that just isn't true for everybody, but I know that I have those supports available to me. So it's about having choices. It's about having choices. I require extra time to make choices. I have to, when I gather information, because Alzheimer's affects my processing, and it also affects my short-term memory. So it's important that the decision process, I have to understand it can really help me and it helps others. And my role as an advocate is to inform people about this and people with dementia, and hope that they understand that this is a great service for them, because it is. It's about our financial decisions, our healthcare decision-making, our living arrangements, our legal decision-making, and all of that has decision makers there to help us, and we should no longer be afraid. It's important we have those decisions. It's important, Patsy, we have the decisions that we are no longer restrained, either physical or chemical, as many of us have seen in care homes. You know, whilst we still have the capacity to make our own decisions, but we have to bear in mind that capacity will not be forever. And so we know now that the decision support service is there to help us and provide us with decision makers, help us to and support us to get decision makers. And that's, we can have a decision maker, we can have our power of attorney. A power of attorney is something that I did in the early days because my doctor recommended I have a power of attorney. A power of attorney, may I add, is a very painful experience for many people, but it is wonderful to do because you know that then there is somebody there that is going to ensure that all your choices are upheld.
Mm-hmm.
And also one other thing I want to say, that the great thing about this is we can also have an advanced healthcare directive. So who wants to leave their family making decisions about their health? It is unfair of us as people with dementia. So we must look at having an advanced healthcare directive and putting those plans in place of what we want medically. I always say I don't want people jumping up and down on me to keep me alive. You know, if that's what it is, you know, I think we have to make the decisions, but we need to plan ahead. It's all about planning. It's about using this service now, which is a wonderful service. And believe me, we are so grateful that this is finally rolled out.
Okay. Patsy, so this service is relatively new. So before we talk necessarily about, you know, what's provided through this service, what would have been the situation really prior to someone having the service to engage with?
Well, yeah, thank you. I suppose what would have happened before this is that if a person was deemed to be of unsound mind, they would have been brought into wardship, and the Ward of Court's office and the High Court and their committee would have made decisions for them. So that has all been done away with. This new act, the Assisted Decision Making Capacity Act, was commenced there in April of this year. So the Decision Support Service is just about 5 months in operation. And as Helen says, the various tiers of support that the Act provides allows a person to consider which tier might they need right now, or indeed planning ahead through making an EPA, an enduring power of attorney, and or an advanced healthcare directive. Usually the two go together. The Advanced Healthcare Directive sets out your choices in relation to your medical treatment.
Can you give us some examples of what you can sort of specify and at what stage of the process you might do so?
You can specify any of your decisions that you may want to take in relation to your property and affairs, such as buying, selling a house, loans, how you manage your money. Perhaps you might have come into a few bob and you're not sure how to manage that. Most of us can manage our money day to day, budget day to day, but perhaps if there's a large amount of money has come our way unusually, how do we invest it? We may identify that we are not able to manage that on our own, and therefore by appointing a legally appointed person that we know and trust, usually in our family or a circle of friends, that they can help us legally to acquire and obtain information and explain it to us in a way that we can understand it. So there's various tiers. They're graduated depending on the level of support that we feel we need. And for planning ahead, then, as I said, you can set out your personal welfare or your property and affairs decisions. And those decisions encompass most decisions that we would encounter in our day-to-day lives. There are a few exemptions under the Act, such as you can't appoint a decision supporter to help you make a will, to decide whether you're going to get married or to adopt a child. There are a few exceptions, but by and large, the Act covers most decisions that we would need support for or may want support for.
Now, of course, we've been speaking to and will again to Helen, who has acquired a condition, but it doesn't. You know, it's if someone has an intellectual disability, a mental illness. brain injury, for an example. You know what I mean? It covers lots of different people in lots of different situations.
It does indeed. It covers any person who has or feels that they can acknowledge that they have a shortcoming or identify that they have a shortcoming in their capacity. I remember a neighbour saying to me, I'm getting very forgetful. And that person, she had identified herself, this neighbour, that she needed support in trying to remember things. And I mean, you don't have to set yourself up on this this framework or appoint a legally appointed decision supporter. Helen has mentioned there that she has her son who supports her with her decisions today. But there could come a time where a service like a bank or a credit union or a utility wants to engage with the account holder only. And so in those circumstances, it's very useful. It would be very useful to have a legally appointed decision supporter who can say, I'm this legally appointed supporter and I'm here to help and be in the room and obtain the information that this relevant person, as we call them, this relevant person needs at this particular point in time.
Yeah, and we need the organisations and that you mentioned and others similar to have a systems in place to recognise that as well and to make that process as streamlined as is possible. So a diagnosis is not required, but it's like you declare you have something, or must you? Or how does that work?
No, a diagnosis necessarily is not required. I mean, anybody can seek support depending on how they feel themselves. So if the lowest tier, the decision-making assistant, is the person that will help gather up information for you and explain it to you in a way that you can understand. Sometimes schemes and different things that we're entitled to, for example, benefits in the nursing home support scheme, for example, they're complicated. And so it may not be, you may identify that you have a difficulty in trying to understand or gather up information. So you could appoint a decision-making assistant to do that for you. And they're legally entitled to contact the various services on your behalf and come back and explain it to you. For the next tier, the co-decision-making agreement is a little bit more complicated. You do need to have a capacity assessment in order to make one of those arrangements. And you can get that done through your medical practitioner or through, there's a number of people that are qualified to do those capacity assessments, healthcare professionals.
Okay.
And then the top tier is where you would go to court and the court would make an order allowing you to...
And all the information is laid out on the website. Finally, Helen, is it... what is it that this brings you? Is it comfort? Is it something that you feel you don't have to worry about? Or what impact does this really have on for you? Helen, you just have to unmute yourself there if that's okay. No problem.
Sorry, the joys of Alzheimer's. It's about choice. It's about my decisions. It's about my rights. It's about what I want to do. It's about me. In the past, it was always about other people, but now it's about what we want. And other people made decisions for us, and none other than our own families. And we've known that this abuse has been down through the years. And we want to, we want to have our own choices. We want to make our decisions, and we should not be afraid to go out and ask somebody to help us with our affairs if we need somebody to go to a bank or we need someone to go to a post office with us. We should have someone we trust. It does not necessarily mean that it's a family member. It's somebody that we can trust and that we implicitly trust.
Okay.
So it's about choices, and it's about making those choices and not leaving a legacy like we did before to our families of having to decide what we want for the rest of our lives.
Okay, Helen, listen, it's been lovely having you on the programme. Thank you very much indeed, Helen. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself. That's Helen Rotford-Brennan. And just finally, briefly, Patsy Fitzsimmons, if people want more information, how do they get it?
Yes, indeed, they can contact us, or they can send us an email at queries@decisionsupportservice.ie, or they can telephone us on 01 911 9750.
Okay, and we retain that information here for anyone that might want it. Thank you very much indeed. Back with more after the news and obituary notices.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Teagasc are holding an information evening focusing on the establishment of grants of the new forestry programme. This meeting will take place in the Teagasc office in Letterkenny on Wednesday the 11th of October starting at 7:30 p.m. Teagasc encourages anyone who is considering establishing a forest to attend as important changes to the forestry grant structures have been introduced. Get your forestry questions answered. Don't miss this important forestry meeting on Wednesday the 11th of October at 7:30 p.m. All are welcome.
More and more people are moving to rural Ireland, but we're not here in Donegal for a slower pace of life.
We're here because rural Ireland is alive.
Brimming with ideas and energy.
The only thing holding us back is slow broadband. It's cat. Pure glacial.
So why wait? Imagine broadband speed gives us the freedom to connect without compromises.
Imagine Broadband is connecting homes and businesses in your community right now. For better service and faster broadband faster, switch to imagine.ie. Imagine. Faster broadband faster.
Subject to location and availability.
New season of fabrics have arrived in store at Fabric World Maydown. On trend and in stock, we have all the fabrics you need. Thousands of curtains, upholstery and craft fabrics at incredible stock prices. Call in for your free curtain design and quotation at Fabric World Derry. Great Euro rates for all our Euro customers.
Restex Beds and Furniture special offer for this month only. They're giving a free pack of hotel grade pillows for every customer when you buy a bed or mattress. T's and C's supply wine stocks last. Call into their showroom at Restex Beds, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Have you booked yet? Imagine this. You're sipping a cocktail by the pool, the sun is shining, and the sweet sounds of country music are in the air. That's right, we're talking about the Highland Radio Hoolie in sunny Salou, where you can escape the cold and enjoy the ultimate country music getaway.
You don't want to miss your chance to be part of this unforgettable experience. Join us in the beautiful resort of Salou from the 14th to the 21st of September 2024 for a week of non-stop country music and crack.
What are you waiting for? Don't let the winter blues get you down. To secure your spot now at the hottest hoolie in town, call 07491 19955 or email info@countrymusictours.ie. The Highland Radio Hoolie in Salou. Your ticket to sun, fun and the best country music. See you there.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, a minute past 10. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. The weekend saw another 4 people lose their lives on Irish roads, one of them in Donegal. Yesterday afternoon, a male motorcyclist in his 40s died following a single vehicle collision outside Lenties. The road from Frosses to Kilrain remains closed as Gardaí carry out a technical examination. They're urging anyone who witnessed the incident or has dashcam footage to come forward. In Roscommon, a 25-year-old man was killed in a single vehicle collision near Athleague yesterday morning, and 2 pedestrians, a teenage boy and a man in his 40s, lost their lives in incidents in Listowel, County Kerry, and close to Dundalk in County Louth over the weekend. The total number of people to die on Irish roads this year is now 144. As you've been hearing on the show, GPs in Donegal are calling on the Health Minister to carry out an external review into the emergency department at Letterkenny University Hospital. 78 doctors have written to Stephen Donnelly over worsening waiting times for patients at the ED. They're also concerned about ambulance drop-off times at the hospital, saying patients are waiting for hours in some cases in ambulances before they can get into the hospital, and that, they say, is before the winter surge really takes hold. GP Dr. Kieran O'Farrell says Minister Stephen Donnelly needs to take action now.
The feeling at this stage is that the improvements that we'd like to see aren't happening, and that's why we've taken this step to ask the Minister to look into the situation here in Donegal. We feel that at this stage now there could be an external review.
Donegal County Council is being asked to prioritise the Bonagee link in discussions with Transport Infrastructure Ireland on the implementation of the 10T project, which includes roads from Letterkenny to Manor Cunningham, Manor to Lifford and Lifford to the border, linking with the A5 in Strabane. Councillor Michael McBride will tell a meeting of Letterkenny Milford Municipal District tomorrow that traffic in Letterkenny is now so bad he believes the second bridge over the Swilly is the only viable solution to what's become regular serious traffic congestion. Councillor McBride says the implementation of new lights at the Polestar roundabout next week will simply not be enough.
You know, there's been a lot
of lights put in. I know there's more lights to be turned on next week out at the Polestar roundabout. But, as far as I'm concerned, even when the lights are turned on, I don't think it's going to have any massive impact regarding the improvement of traffic flow. And Letterkenny, I don't think it's going to free up the town the way it needs to be. And the only way it can be freed up is with the link across the Swilly, as we refer to it as the Bonnegee link.
Cuts to the universal social charge are expected to be announced in tomorrow's budget. Social welfare payments are set to go up by around €15 a week, along with the pension. The coalition leaders and the ministers for finance and public expenditure met into the early hours of the morning. They're expected to iron out final outstanding issues today. Paul Hosford is political correspondent with the Irish Examiner. He says a cut to childcare costs is also expected, but it won't be as high as had been hoped.
From Roderick O'Gorman's point of view, he will argue that there's going to be investment in core allocations for childcare providers. It's going to bring people who use childminders into the National Childcare Scheme. So he's going to, I suppose, he'll be able to sell it as a massive expansion of that scheme, but it probably won't go to the 25% that a lot of parents were hoping for.
Professionals working in children's disability services are concerned they're not reporting to a manager related to their discipline. 5 representative HSCP organisations say they're worried about clinical governance, risk management and the erosion of professional autonomy. They say it significantly impacts on their members' abilities to deliver services to children with disabilities. The CEO of the Irish Society of Chartered Physiotherapists, Dr. Mario Meir, says it's an extremely complex area that managers need to understand.
So we're asking for the Chief Clinical Officer and the HSE to engage with the organisations to help us reintroduce discipline managers. We also want specific competencies written up around scope of practice so that people in these roles know exactly what they're required to do and also have better supervision and training for them, as these are not straightforward roles. These are children with complex disabilities.
Israel has formally declared war on the group Hamas after a weekend of violence that saw 1,100 people killed. Militants attacked southern Israeli towns, killing 260 at a music festival and taking dozens of hostages. In response, there have been hundreds of strikes overnight on targets in the Gaza Strip. Sky's Dominic Waghorn is in Ashkelon. He says Israeli forces are being frank about how long this fighting is likely to last.
What the Israelis say is this is a very different situation to what they've had in the past, in scope and scale, and that we should expect a long and hard conflict in Gaza itself. They say this is full-on war.
Well, the forecast cloudy this morning with some areas of mist or fog. A chance of some patchy rain or drizzle. Sunny spells, though, developing as we hit the afternoon. It'll be warm and humid with highest temperatures of 18 to 21 degrees Celsius in moderate southwest breezes. It'll be mostly cloudy overnight with patchy rain or drizzle spreading from the west later. Rainfall will be small, a mild and humid night with lowest overnight temperatures 12 to 15 degrees Celsius in moderate southwest winds. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news again at 11 o'clock. Regular updates on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning. The obituary notices for this Monday morning, the 9th of October. The death has taken place of Mina White, 26 Muckle Hill View, Castlederg, formerly of Knockagannon Convoy. Her remains are reposing at her late residence, with funeral from there tomorrow afternoon at 12:30 for 1 o'clock funeral service in Drumlega Presbyterian Church, followed by burial in the family plot in the adjoining graveyard. Family time, please, from 10 o'clock tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu to Drumlega Presbyterian Church Building Fund, care of any family member or Terence McClintock, Funeral Director. And the death has taken place of Mark Gallagher, Mulroy View Estate, Upper Carrigart. Funeral this morning to the Church of St John the Baptist for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. For more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Only people from the 90s will know what that sound means. I can picture it now. Back when McDonald's started cracking free-range eggs across the entire menu and internet dial-up was the only way to get online. Those few minutes wait felt super fast and it was known as the World Wide Web. Ah, the good old days. It's just one of the little changes McDonald's have been constantly making to the way we source and produce our food over the years. Find out more at mcdonalds.ie. McDonald's. Change a little, change a lot.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
And we head into the second hour of the programme. Good morning to you. If you've just switched on, where have you been? We had really quite a powerful conversation with GP Dr. Padraig McGuinness. 78 of them have written to the Health Minister and other senior members of CELTA saying that you either do something about the ED. They don't believe they have faith in the current management system to fix the problems with ED, but if you don't do something about it, we are going to take to the streets, and they've outlined a series of measures, and they're going to call the public out onto the streets as well. A really significant intervention. It's going to be available for you to listen back to on our podcast, or you can rewind on YouTube if you're watching on your big screen. Hi, Greg. Delighted to hear that all the GPs in our county have written to the Minister for Health, pointing out the dangerous situation in the ED at Letterkenny Hospital. No one has done anything about it, or seems no one is listening to the patient or their families. This is our chance to change. So I do hope the Minister listens and acts. It's a matter of life or death in many cases. As GPs said, cases of sepsis are being missed. And is there anyone listening? Is there anyone listening? That's not the question. I hope there is. But is there anyone listening that hasn't either themselves got a story or someone close to them has a story? I don't think there's many out there that doesn't. I don't think I'm doing the service a disservice, if you know what I mean. I'm kind of normal and know normal people, and I could list 4 or 5 stories, horror stories. Like, let's not forget the target to see an over 75 at Letterkenny University Hospital is 12 hours. That's the target. Now, that target's been missed quite regularly, but it used to be 6 or 7 hours, but 12 hours, it's like, okay, if you're over 75 and you're sent to the ED, the target is to have you in a bed if you need one within 12 hours. 12 hours, sitting on those hard chairs, or in the back of an ambulance as well. It's interesting that GPs are complaining about the safety and waiting times at Letterkenny ED, particularly given GP clinics stop taking calls once they reach a quota of calls. This is forcing people who need GP care to go to the ED. We get that, and it varies from GP to GP, but some are booked out for weeks and weeks and weeks in advance. A caller says, I know this seems trivial to some people, but the seating in Letterkenny ED is totally inappropriate. They're steel seats with no padding at all. Some people with bone problems cannot sit for long on these. I'd ask Mr. Murphy whether he'd like to sit on them. Also, the tea machine is rarely working. I wish these things could be addressed, and it's not insignificant, really. And we had an assurance at one point last year that cushions would be provided for the seats. I'm not sure if they ever were, or if they went missing, or whatever happened, but that was one of the insurances. We were saying, look, this is one problem that we can do something about, surely. And they were ordered, and then they're not there. Okay, so whatever happened. Right, good luck if you're playing the bingo today.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Monday, the 9th of October. You're playing on the green sheet. The reference number is S1. It's game number 41. The numbers are 11, 69, 35, 40, 14, 68, 1, 52, 90, and finally 60. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
This Tuesday the 10th, Around the Northwest is live from Donegal Education and Training Board's newest Further Education and Training Centre at Business Park Road, Letterkenny. It's for their Student Welcome Day to kick off the new term. So we'll find out more about their range of full and part-time courses, the Adult Guidance and Information Service, student support, and about the range of activities in the centre. Join us live on Tuesday from 12 at Donegal ETB's newest Further Education and Training Centre on Business Park Road, Letterkenny.
Donegal Denture Clinic, Letterkenny. Denture problems? We can help. At Donegal Denture Clinic, we customise, personalise and tailor your dentures to suit you. Call us for a free consultation on 91 25 25 3. Find us at Ballyrain, Letterkenny, beside Rossin College. Medical cards welcome. For all your denture needs, call Donegal Denture Clinic on 91 25 25 3. Online at donegaldentureclinic.ie.
Hey there, folks of Letterkenny. Mark your calendars. It's the Letterkenny Motor Show, happening on Saturday the 14th of October on a pedestrianised Lower Main Street. Come and explore the latest car models, enjoy fun activities for the whole family, and discover incredible deals that will get you on the road in style. It's the perfect family day out, and we can't wait to see you there.
The Letterkenny Motor Show is brought to you by the local franchised motor dealers and proudly supported by First Citizen Finance, Letterkenny Chamber, Donegal County Council, the Society of Irish Motor Industry, and FBD Insurance.
Visit letterkennymotorshow.ie for more details.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Now, a caller says that he witnessed a line of ambulances down to the roundabout waiting to get into the ED the week before last with people in them. And when he called the hospital to try and locate his family member, he was advised that he was still in an ambulance and would be for some time, but then received a call from his family member to say he was in ED, so the staff didn't know or don't know where the patients are. A caller works in the ED department and says there is no organisation at all and all of the issues could be sorted if the people in charge just put a plan in place, but instead they just keep talking with nothing being done. In the meantime, people are dying. The staff in the A&E feel that the only way is to take to the streets, and the general public should be taking to the streets too until this issue is sorted. Well, I feel we're heading towards that. And a caller says there's no way they'll manage to sort the problems in the hospital when they can't even sort the car park. The hospital parking is an absolute disgrace, and that's an issue, but one's life and death. But I take your point, and I'm not in any way trivialising your view there. Amanda joins us. How are you, Amanda?
I'm Graham. Greg.
All right, okay. Now, you had the unenviable experience of being in ED, or the accident and emergency, for 36 hours.
Yep, 36 hours.
When was that?
It was August.
Wow.
In August. Mm-hmm.
And what was, I mean, like lots of people who end up in the ED for a long time, they often worry more about others, and you were noticing other people's experience even though you were going through a nightmare yourself. Amanda, what was it like? How would you describe it?
It was hard to watch, to be honest. I went on a Monday around 3 o'clock. Me and my daughter went down, and we sat and went on to triage and out again. And I sat and I sat and I thought, right, I was getting later and later into the night. And I says, I'm going home. Like, I was a few times I did say I'm going to go home, because I was just sitting there watching people. You know, there was wee girls sitting on wheelchairs and peeing, you know. But anyway, I come on to later on that night, and the nurses come out and brought out blankets and stuff, and for people to sleep. And there was people lying on the floor, sleeping. It was like something you see on a film that was an earthquake and an emergency, you know, something. It was really hard to watch. Sleeping. Next morning, everybody getting up, folding their blankets, putting them away. Nurses coming out to get them up. In all fairness, the nurses were brilliant. You know, they couldn't have done enough, and they come out at night, you know, with tea and toast and everything. They couldn't have done enough for people. But it was just, and children sitting there, you know, people were crying, mothers couldn't get them settled. There was just no, it was awful to watch, like, you know, and I never thought it was as bad till I went on.
Yeah.
It was really bad now.
And how did you stick it, Amanda, for so long?
I don't know. I sort of sat there and you were sitting chatting to people. You know, I passed the time, but it was a long sit, and I was going to go home, but I'm glad I did sit, because, you know, the turnout wasn't great. But it's just other people. There was a fella that I knew was sitting beside me, and he had a cut in his hand, and that fella sat a few hours. He came in a few hours after me. He sat all night. He lay on the floor with a blanket and slept. I got up the next morning, and he was getting a bite to eat. And I says to him, I says, you know, if you don't get up and say it to the next nurse or doctor that comes out, you're going to be sitting there. So we did. He got up, And the door opened. I says to him, "Go on now. Now's your chance." So he did. He went in, and he says to her, he says, "How long are you sitting?" And she says, "I'll see. Look about it now." And he was called within the next half an hour. Yeah. And all he had to get done is 2 stitches in his hand, and he was in 10 minutes and stayed out. That's all it took. You know, I can't see why they couldn't have a wee part of the A&E, you know, for that. You know, like people with minor cuts or, you know, that need stitched or stuff, and then another part for older people and children, because it's just such a disgrace in this day and age to see it, like, to be honest.
Yeah, and I'm not asking anything personal, so please don't think I am. But one of you had to be admitted to the hospital after the 36 hours.
I did.
Wow.
I did. I went on, and the first doctor diagnosed me. Well, he thought it was something different. Yeah. But then the other doctor came out, and I had to go for a CT scan then. So I went for it, and he came out and he told me I had to stay. And to be honest, the words I said to him was, "You're joking me," because I thought. I know what he told me wasn't great, but I thought, oh, what have I now? But no, in fairness, I had to stay down in day services for a winter days because there were no wards. And, you know, the beds down there, like, they're not the most comfortable.
Yeah.
But the nurses were absolutely brilliant. They couldn't have done enough for me.
Yeah.
And done for everybody, you know, but...
How long are they going to stick it, though, Amanda? I mean, how long could you stick that working environment? And the first thing that Dr. McGuinness said is that this isn't about calling out the staff. This is about backing them and supporting them. And I've made that point in this show many's a time. This is not to sort of demoralise people in their work or make them... We all know how difficult their job is. But how long are they going to stick it for? How long could any human being stick working in that environment before they have to say enough is enough? I know people have bills to pay, Amanda, but I couldn't stick it, not for a second.
No, I don't know. If you stand and watch them, the nurses and I don't know how they're doing it. You know, they absolutely need... They don't get enough praise. They don't get enough wages because I don't know how they're doing it. You know, if it's only for them. It's only for the nurses and the staff. I think it would be a lot worse, to be truthful.
Okay.
Because it's just a disgrace.
Yeah, and you would dread, you know, I presume, Amanda, if, God forbid, you're in good health, but if your GP says, right, I'm going to have to send you down to the ED after that experience, you would dread it?
No, I definitely couldn't do it.
Wow. Okay.
I definitely couldn't do it, no.
All right.
That is, to be truthful. If I had it, and if somebody belonging to me,
I know.
had to go in, I would do it. But I think it's because I became as my family, I always say I'm a laid-back person anyway, but I think it was just keeping people, talking to people and, you know, older people, and I sort of lifted everybody, and everybody in the waiting room was very supportive of one another, you know, that kind of way.
All right.
And I think that's the reason.
All right, well, lovely to speak to you, Amanda. I hope you're feeling a bit better now, and thanks very much for helping us to understand exactly what the GPs are talking about there from a first-hand perspective. Have a lovely day, Amanda.
Lovely, Greg.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
Bye.
Thanks so much indeed. That's Amanda there. 086 60 25,000. People are calling and people are messaging across various platforms with their stories, their experiences. My husband went into hospital last Sunday night in an ambulance with a head injury and broken ribs. He sat all night until 12 the next day and just left and went to his own GP. It wasn't busy at all that night, but it's a disgrace. So in with a head injury, broken ribs, sat right through to 12 o'clock the next day and just got up and left. And we have some of the highest rates of people, leaving without being seen. All right, okay, we're going to take a very short break.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Seasonal loans now available for Christmas. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
It's a Wednesday, the hump of the week. You've been really good, so why not treat yourself by stopping off at Kelly's Diner? With loads of parking, you can take a seat and get served in a friendly, relaxed atmosphere. An all-day breakfast, some lunch, maybe just a sandwich. The menu is packed with tasty favourites. Brighten up your week with a stop off at the award-winning Kelly's Diner, Mountain Top, Letterkenny.
The Shimas Grand Festival, a weekend of the best in traditional music, singing and dance in Clonmany from the 13th to the 15th of October. Concerts featuring Thomas Drain, Paula and Melanie Houghton and the amazing Frankie Gavin. Tickets on Eventbrite or pay at the door. Check out full programme on Facebook or log on to shimasgrandweekend.com. Clonmany, 13th to the 15th of October is the place to be.
Donegal Denture Clinic, Letterkenny. Denture problems? We can help. At Donegal Denture Clinic, we customise, personalise and tailor your dentures to suit you. Call us for a free consultation on 91 25 25 3. Find us at Ballyrain, Letterkenny, beside Rossin College. Medical cards welcome. For all your denture needs, call Donegal Denture Clinic on 91 25 25 3. Online at donegaldentureclinic.ie.
For the biggest names in perfume and aftershaves, visit McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Dolce & Gabbana, Paco Rabanne, Carolina Herrera, Calvin Klein, Jimmy Choo and Burberry, Ariana Grande, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Vera Wang and many more. From timeless classics to celebrity favourites, there's a perfume or aftershave for everyone at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny and online at mcgees.ie.
An emotion stirred, an idea accelerated. That's progress you can feel, and the very definition of the Audi 241 range. From the sporty, iconic Audi A4 and the all-electric Audi Q4 e-tron to the pioneering Audi Q8 e-tron, offering greater range than you can even imagine. Test drive the Audi 241 range at an Audi dealer near you today.
All right, you know the story, don't you? Councils up and down the country have their monthly meetings, and the councillors bring forward motions or questions to address issues. And we had Councillor Dermot Lacey from the Labour Party, who was contacted by a concerned resident who didn't have some nice things to say, especially when we got involved. They described an area as being knee-deep in rat feast dentures, people from Donegal. It was a question on the agenda for the upcoming South East Area Matters Committee of Dublin City Council, and Councillor Dermot Lacey is with us. Good morning to you, Councillor. So how did this happen? Well, shall we start with the grovelling apologies, or shall we get to them in a bit?
Well, it's very clear, Greg. First of all, the words weren't mine, and I did apologise for including them in a question that I tabled to the area committee. I mean, I'm somebody who visits Donegal regularly. My brother lives in Donegal. I love the county. But it was my responsibility to ensure that the text I submitted was proper. What happened was I got a very long email. If I remember correctly, it was about 3 pages long. That wasn't the only offensive comment in the email. And I edited out what I thought was all of the offensive bits, but left in one bit in error. And for that, I obviously apologise. It shouldn't have happened. I shouldn't have included it. I didn't intend to include it, but I did. And so reading it all together would appear that there was an offensive comment made, and obviously that was not my intention, and I apologise. Yeah, and is there an issue at Beggars Bush Court? Like, do you believe this resident has a point, albeit no need for the nasty language? I don't think he has a case in relation to Donegal people, but I think there is a bit of dirt there. There's a lot of pieces there, and it should be cleaned up. And that's my only intention in submitting the question, was to have the area cleaned up. But the email came to me, and it was my responsibility to deal with it. It was quite an extraordinary email. I'm not going to go into it. It's an email from a private citizen. To me, it's a public representative. But when I saw it, I said, look, there's an issue in there about cleansing, but the language and some of the references made about various council staff and so forth were not acceptable. And as I said, I tried to edit out everything that I thought was offensive, but left in that bit, and apologies to all of the people of Donegal. That's all right. Okay. And you haven't been cancelled or anything, have you? You're all right? Well, I suppose if I haven't been cancelled after 31 years of fairly forthright views as a councillor, maybe I'll stay there for a while more.
Is there a big Donegal population in Beggars Bush Court?
I don't know, to be honest with you, but there's a good population of Donegal people. In Dublin, I've served with former Councillor Michael Connan, indeed former Lord Mayor of Dublin. I currently serve with local Councillor Danny Byrne, who's also from Donegal. So, Donegal has played a constructive role on Dublin City Council and long may continue to do so.
All right, listen, thanks very much for joining us. We appreciate it, Dermot. Take care of yourself.
Good to talk to you. Take care.
Bye-bye. That's Dermot Lacey of the Labour Party. And as I say, in that documentation or that email he received from a listener, he described that area of Dublin, Beggars Bush Court, as being knee-deep in rat faeces, dentures, people from Donegal, which is not very nice company for us to keep. But anyway, it was an oversight from the councillor, and there's an awful lot worse going on in the world, isn't there, than that? But still, there you go. Well spoken, Dr. McGuinness. Thank you, Greg, for giving this time to be heard. I've been waiting for a development like that. I didn't anticipate it or expect it, but I've been waiting for it because you try and spotlight and highlight these issues, and many people do. I'm not saying it's me, but many people do, and you get frustrated because it feels like no one's listening or no one cares. So very. For patients, I'm sure they'll feel a very positive intervention by the GPs there. About time this was brought forward, says a listener. Fair play to the GPs for speaking up. For far too long, the hospital in Letterkenny has been punching above its weight. Go down the road to Sligo to see what staff they have in the hospital. An audit should be done to see how fair it is. We are the poor cousin to Sligo in every department. Hi, Greg. I've been a St. Eunan's supporter all of my life and was up at the game yesterday, but I have to say congratulations to Martin Regan and Niamh Connell. He's the fairest and best manager this country has seen at club level. That comes in from Noel. Very gracious, Noel. I think some St. Eunan's fans may be a little bit frustrated that perhaps maybe the team could have gone for it a bit. I don't know. But you know who will know? Brendan Devaney, who is going to join us after 11, and we're going to run through the weekend's GEA action. If you're at any of the games, have any comments on any of those games or questions for Brendan, get them into us, 086 60 25,000, and we can have that conversation after 11. Not just the seniors, either any other games. And there's big weekends coming up next week, and every weekend it seems there's another cracking match to look forward to. Finally, before the break here, I'm texting about the long waiting list for driving test in Donegal. We live in Inishowen with a very poor public bus service. My daughter has all her lessons completed and applied for her test back in the middle of August. She was given a time that she will get an invitation to do the test, April 2024, which has since been pushed to May 2024. That's a waiting time of 9 months. This is absolutely ridiculous. She has work experience for college in February. 24 was hoping to have her licence for this, as there'll be no bus covering the route in the morning or evening, leaving me as her mother having to drive her there and back again. It is an awful situation. There's just no doubt about that. And, that date could slip again because dependent on the winter or people taking holidays, there could be an awful lot of cancellations over the Christmas. I got someone was invited to apply for their test on Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve. Do you know what I mean? It's automated. So it may well be that she doesn't even get the invitation in April next year, but it's really terrible. She's sitting there ready to go, all the lessons done, and a 9-month wait to sit your driving test. We need to do our bit, of course, to make sure roads are safe and we get around and all that kind of stuff. But the state, the arms of the state need to step up, really, and let people, when they're fit to drive, be able to drive, especially in a county that has hit and miss public transport.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
An éon rud atá rágad nó de bhéadthach rudaí beaga chur asca de bhearthlainse.
Is é?
Deacrachtaí cudalta.
Se.
nó má bhíam faoi bhrú a gcónaí.
Se.
nó imneach go minic.
Tá buinte acu ilig le de bhearthlainse.
Cén dói a bhfuil is a go é seo ilig?
Brat níam im a dhé féin faoi mar is óldit.
Imní, brúseasta, ís le brí, gan a bheithan an colla, buinn siad seo ilig le de bhearthlainse. Déan an ceangal agus bhaicúnamh ag yourmentalhealth.ie. Ó aimimeach na séirfíse sláinte.
For unbelievable value, head to Aldi this Halloween with pumpkins in store now from $1.29. Children's Halloween costumes only $6.99. In store 1st of October. Spooktacular snacks and tasty treats from 79¢. And devilish Halloween decorations from $1.99 in store the 1st of October. So if you want to conjure up something really wicked, it's got to be Aldi, Ireland's most reputable supermarket.
GiveBlood.ie know we can count on you, our community of blood donors, to be there for others in their hour of need. Blood donors from Killybegs should attend the clinic in the Tara Hotel in Killybegs on Monday 9th of October, and donors from Donegal and Dunloe should attend the clinic in the Abbey Hotel in Donegal Town from Tuesday 10th to Thursday 12th. Making an appointment is recommended, so call 1-800-731-137 or visit our website to book your time. New donors are vital. Visit GiveBlood.ie to check eligibility and clinic details, because we count on you.
The eagerly anticipated brand new production of the Broadway smash hit musical Sister Act is on its way to the Bord Gáis Energy Theatre in Dublin. Join Highland Radio as we make way to this unforgettable show on Friday 23rd of February 2024. Your trip includes luxury transfers, bed and breakfast at the 4-star City North Hotel in Dublin, your ticket to the show and a shopping trip to Dublin City Centre. For more information, call Highland Radio on 074 91 25000 or visit highlandradio.com.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport, where you can now fly daily to London Heathrow with Aer Lingus and connect via Heathrow to over 80 destinations worldwide, including Boston, New York and more.
OK, so let's have a look at the weather forecast now. Rather cloudy this morning with some areas of mist or fog and the chance of a little patchy rain or drizzle, though that's clearing now at this stage. To leave sunny spells developing through the afternoon, warm and humid with highest temperatures of 18 to 21 degrees in moderate southwest breezes. Now, I hope I can say hello to Majida. Are you there, Majida?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. You are a Palestinian activist from Gaza, now living in Buncrana, and we're speaking in the context of an incredible loss of life over the weekend in this unpredicted, it wasn't. No one knew it was going to happen other than those behind it. These events on Saturday. I'm struggling here because I want to be careful how I phrase this to you, because I know that you're probably conscious that now the media are talking about this, but where have the media perhaps been for the last number of decades when your people were experiencing what they're experiencing? So I understand it's a very delicate topic, Majida.
Yeah, it is. It is really tragedy now in the moment. It is high tragedy and normal, but it is normal in Palestine. They get attacked all the time. They bombing all the time. They killing all the time. But unfortunately, the people, they are like deaf and blind about what is going on in Palestine. It is really funny that when they ask you what is normal, what is going on, it is, of course, it's not normal. It's going on since 1948 until now. The Nakba in Palestine never end and never stop. But the people, they get bored and they normalize what is going on. I hope that will take place now and we vote everything clear about our dignity and about our case, to be clear and hold the word that we are not give up and we are not forgetting our right in our land. So the fighting now, it is clear, and that our land, and we bought all our lives to get it back.
I understand. I understand exactly why this action was taken. But as someone who I don't have a personal interest like you might have, shooting at people at a concert and taking children hostage, older people hostage, people with dementia being photographed holding weapons, and is that going to help the cause? I mean, do you believe that that's justifiable given everything that's gone on before, Majida, or do you think that tactically this was the wrong move?
Sorry, but why it is no one talk about the the Palestinian who get killed, about the children, Shokum Point. What about the destroyed in the hospital with everyone inside? What about the school bombing and all of them inside? What about the ambulance who shooting and bombing in the choking point, or leave the people who want to just cross the border for the hospital? No one talk about them. Why? Because they are Israel? No, I'm sorry. We are all here.
Yeah. So that answers the question, given what Palestinians have been through and the atrocities that have been delivered onto them, then this action at the weekend, you believe, was justifiable or is justifiable. It is okay.
It's okay for me because I lost a lot of my family, and we lost our land, we lost our right, and no one talk about it. We are invisible for the world, and the Israel only visible for everyone. Of course, it is normal. It is normal because we live all our life like that.
Yeah. The thing is though, this seems to have rallied support behind the Israeli leadership, and they are incredibly well equipped and have declared an all-out war, and perhaps have enough international backing now to do whatever they see fit to do. How worrying is that for you?
I worried about my family, and of course I care what is going on. It is not easy to lose people. It is not easy to lose family. It is not easy to destroy houses or hospital or schools or lands or even tree. Everything is really a matter for me, but I cannot just ignore that for the people what are thinking about us.
What do you think happens next?
We will continue. We will continue until the last person in Palestine and hold the world. We will fight very strong to take all our land from the river to the sea.
And do you believe that you can be successful in that? And if so, how?
We will find a way. We will find a way. In a way or another, we will do it. I know everyone, like in all the countries, they support in Israel to support them with money or weapons. We will find friends in the end, and all the history. There is always the reality will be in the ground. Not only what they are publishing in the media, what they are telling the people about what is going on. We have a friend. We have ourselves, first of all.
How worried are you for your country people?
100%. 100%, because I trust my Palestinian people, our Palestinian faith, about our Palestinian case and our Palestinian land. And also I believe in Allah, He will support us. Not only as a Muslims, but as a Jewish also, as a Christian who live and believe in freedom of Palestine. I believe in all of them. They will find a way to fight very strong. But also, I believe that the correct things and the correct war, it will come in the time.
Okay, well, thank you for your time this morning. I do appreciate it. That's Majida Ali there, who's a Palestinian activist from Gaza, now living in Buncrana. As I say, it's an incredible sad loss of life, and just more of it to come. We're seeing what's happening in primarily East Ukraine, and now this hundreds and hundreds of people perishing. As I say, it's just going to continue, it would seem. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number. 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. A caller says, should the Palestinian flag be flown outside our public service building in Dunlow today? Just wondering what others think. That comes in from a Dunlow listener. I don't know. What do you think? 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number. Right, okay. If you've been listening to this show over the last month or 6 weeks, you would know that we've been talking extensively about CDNT services, the lack of them, the lack of hope there is for parents and guardians to get intervention with their young people. Leonard Watson is a member of the Special Needs Parent Network, and he's dropped into studio to say hello to us. Thanks, Leonard, for joining us. I do appreciate it. Okay. Obviously, you know, we talked about this extensively in this show. A group was formed. An awful lot of work has been going on behind the scenes. Where are we at now in terms of, parents and guardians organising to say enough is enough?
Well, Greg, you had the two ladies up a couple of weeks ago who set up the Facebook page. I'm just going to give it a shout. It's Special Needs Parents Donegal. So any family with children or adults with special needs can go on that page, and it's an information page. They're doing surveys and that. They're doing a lot of work, a lot of work for parents with special needs children themselves. They're doing Trojan work, like. What we're looking at now, Greg, it's all well and good. HSE has come back now with certain things. You know, where they have started pushing out the staffing issue, but that doesn't solve the issue now. Like, we need services now. Like, you know, some of these things they're chatting about, it could be staff in 2 years, 3 years. That's no good for the
and even in our
today.
Conversation there with Minister Harris last week, I just thought it important to get his views on this on the record. He recognises the issues in terms of, I don't know, qualification recognition and all that type of stuff, but the solutions, as you say, are medium to long term. This is, we need immediate solutions now, whether it's accessing, I don't know, private or sending people, whatever it might be. An action plan, is it felt, needs to be put in place for the immediate short term now.
Like, Greg, even some of the stuff's coming up at the moment. Like, there's primary care at the moment. Like, we have a parent whose child was in primary care getting regular speech therapy, and the child then was moved to CDNT and all speech therapy stopped. Another family who the nephew has a slight speech, again with primary care, which all children should be equal. But again, her child is non-verbal. He's getting absolutely nothing, and primary care seems to well staffed. So again, there's a disparity here. Like, you know, there's no equality across the system. So that's the kind of things we're looking at. Like you say now, should it be private? Should be private care? Things around key workers. Key workers should not be therapists. Like, you know, therapists should be there to do their 30, 35 hours therapy a week. They shouldn't be having to deal with other stuff that they weren't trained for. Like, so like, we're here, we're speaking for families and children. We're also speaking for the staff and the system too, because the loss of the staff through the system is huge. Like, you know, the staff are leaving on their droves, like, and that's not helping either. Like, you know, there's no point us taking 2 or 3 in and we're losing 5 or 6. Like, so between retirements and people just leaving the system because they're fed up, they can't cope. Like, so all these things is the things now. Like, you know, we have a meeting now with the HSE on the 16th, as you know. Like, and this is the kind of things we're going to be bringing to them. Like, you know, this just didn't happen yesterday or the day before. This has been going on for years, and the system is broken, and they now need to come and they need to fix it, because these families aren't going to be quiet anymore now. Like, these families,
the likes of yourself and others have worked really, really hard in trying to get the message across, trying to get a equal, good, accessible service, and there's been successes in that. But it's different now, because now we've got a collective of many, many parents. It's a much stronger, more united voice, Leonard, that's going to be much more difficult, we would hope, for the powers that be to ignore.
Like I've always said, there's parents out there, they're tired, they're angry, they're frustrated, but now they have come together. Like, and that's what we're saying about even these CDNT meetings now. We need as many families as possible to go to their local CDNT meetings and voice and show their anger, and because we need to show the HSE and the politicians that this can't go on any longer. It's a tragedy, Greg. Like, we have children in wheelchairs that are too small for them now. You know, there's areas now with no OT and no physiotherapy. Who's going to measure the children for the new chairs or the new equipment? Like, you know, it's just unbelievable that this kind of thing's going on. And, you know, we're dealing with children and vulnerable people. Like.
So the meeting that's coming up here. Sorry, can I talk about the 16th meeting? Sorry,
Yes.
who's in on that? Whose ears are you going to have for that? And what's going to be the message at that meeting with the HSE on the 16th?
Well, this is the heads of the HSE, the local politicians there who are part of the HSE. They sit on the boards of the HSE.
Gotcha.
They will be there. You've got the 8 reps from the CDNT parents forums, so we'll be there, and we'll have another couple of parents there too that we're bringing in. Joe and Lisa, we bring them in because, in fairness, they speak for a cohort who we don't get, like, and they have a lot more knowledge than us. But that's the meeting there, and this is the meeting we want them to listen. We don't want to.
And was that meeting scheduled? Was that supposed to happen anyway?
No, this was a meeting that, from all this has happened.
Brilliant. Okay.
Now, in fairness, the heat has come on, and in fairness, the politicians now are getting on it. They should have been here years ago. That's the one thing I'll say. So they need to start listening to the families in their area. I would tell any family that's having, contact your politicians, contact HSE. At the moment we know HSE bombarded by now with people contacting them about servicing. This needs to happen. They need to know how bad it is out there.
Yeah, because they're talking about and the headlines all being flagged in the papers about we're going to put €800 back in your pocket. I would prefer if you would say, well, actually, we've secured an OT now and your child's going to be able to get the support that they need. Do you get where I'm coming from? It's not all about money for us sometimes. We need money, of course, and whatever, but it's services that we'd like to see some action on. That would be the real vote winner, I think, anyway. So that meeting's taking place on the 16th. And the thing now is everyone's going in with their eyes wide open, all the information. They're not going to be fobbed off with stuff. I think everyone can see through the talk now. Unless there is some meaningful conversation about what can be done right now, I think it's not going to be seen as a very successful meeting. People aren't prepared to accept
We're hearing about
mediocrity.
a bit of work done in the panels, and even they're a perfect example, Greg. I can be on the panel now. I can turn down 2, 3, 4 positions. I don't lose my place in that panel. So the panel's eternally full of people maybe that are trying to pick and choose. At the end of the day, if you have a vocation to want to work and special needs that, go take a job, maybe even incentivize them to come to areas like Donegal or whatever for a while to try and get, we're sitting, I think it's at 55% average Donegal, the staffing.
Yeah, but you see, that's the problem. I think it's, I know they wouldn't probably not like being described as a vocation. These are professionals and they've got bills and all that type of stuff. But, why would they come and work it's a chicken and egg. If there's so few staff, why would you come here and be stretched all over the place for the same money that you might get in a better resource place in Galway or something? Do you know what I mean? So they need to incentivise it till we get up to a certain level and it's seen a more attractive proposition to work here.
But at the end of the day, Greg, staffing isn't parents' issues. This is HSE. These are well-paid people. This has not just happened yesterday, as I keep saying. Okay. So now they need to get their finger out and start thinking about the people in the system.
So then the CDNT meeting on Wednesday, the 18th of October. So that's Wednesday week. That's at the Mount Errigal Hotel. You're also calling people to attend that, are you?
Well, any parents whose child is involved with CDNT.
In Donegal North.
In Donegal North. Yeah. That's the meeting now on the 18th in the Mount Errigal. They tell us there's 350 families involved with CDNT. Probably is more. I would call every one of them to come to that meeting. We need a strong voice to say that we're not accepting poor services anymore for children. There's a meeting then in Donegal Southwest on October the 17th. Now, this meeting has been held on Zoom at 5 o'clock in the evening. Parents are not happy about that. It's not suitable.
Why is that?
Greg, I've been on Zoom meetings a lot. The quietest person will not be heard. Where if they're in a room, they might have the courage to stand up. I don't know what.
Even at 5 p.m.
5 p.m. This is not thinking of families with children again. You have people maybe trying to cook dinners at that time, trying to get settled.
Or get home from work or get them back from wherever.
I know parents have contacted. They've had no answers back to say why this is. So that's something that should not be happening. These should be in-person meetings as much as possible. So that people have to be answerable to. You have to face up and be answerable to this. And it's also come with ideas. How we can make this service better. Parents out there have ideas. we shouldn't have to fix the system, but we should be part of fixing the system.
No, Zoom's not appropriate for something so
absolutely
important.
not.
And then Donegal East in a show, and Donegal South Sligo to be arranged. So hopefully they hear the calls about this Zoom situation. That's on tomorrow week, and then the in-person Mount Errigal. Is there any advantage to people from outside the Donegal North area coming to that meeting?
Do you know what, Greg? I'll say it's open to everyone, but they'll probably tell me it's only open to Donegal North.
I get you understood.
You know,
right.
it's about the services in Donegal North. You know, at the end of the day, these meetings are about information too. You know, going forward, hopefully we sort the staffing issue. We should be able to tell families about what other...
So what have you heard about the staffing issues that's given you a little bit of hope in the medium to long term?
We've heard now that the panels, they've swayed away from the panels.
Right.
They're now doing interviews. We've been told now that Donegal is a special case. They're now trying to get more interviews done, everything done quicker.
Yeah.
My head's gone blank here.
It's all right. Come here, isn't it, though? Like, we can't rejoice until we start actually, seeing some success, some action.
It can't be a sticking plaster, Greg. We just cannot say a sticking plaster.
It is... since all this started, things are changing a little bit. Hopefully, as I say, we have to see what's delivered. But it's clear now the community got together and can't be ignored because they're not going to go away if none of this happens.
Well, do you know what? I've heard about adverts on Facebook. I haven't actually seen them. Parents have told me. But
there's a specific Facebook page,
yeah,
apparently.
But now, that's what I've heard of. But now somebody has told me they've actually seen it, an advert.
Good.
Now,
well, that's because we've seen all other disciplines being advertised. Why not it?
Because even my wife said to me last night she's seen an ad somewhere for staff in Northern Ireland. And all the therapies was mentioned and how much they need them. I haven't actually.
No, neither have I ever come across it. No.
But again, radio ads, all this type of stuff. There should be it's an emergency.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Right. Okay. So, if you haven't, the meeting in the Mount Errigal Hotel, parents would be, if they're engaged with the services, the 350-day estimate, they should have received an invite to this meeting at the Mount Errigal. They should have
either received an email or a text message. If they haven't, contact, actually, the special needs parents Donegal, put it up on that page. Contact myself, private message if they want, because this was an issue at the last meeting. A lot of parents came to myself and see who's other parents rep afterwards and says, we didn't know about this meeting. We brought this up. They said everybody was contacted, and then not everybody was contacted.
So listen, picture the scene. Can you imagine if there's hundreds of people in the Mount Errigal Hotel? It's very difficult to ignore that.
Greg, it's the numbers is the only way to go there. We've all been single voice, we've all been fighting our own cases. Now we have to come together as one strong voice, and we have to change the system.
Right, okay. Cool. So a couple of important dates for you, just to recap then. Donegal North, Wednesday the 18th of October at 7 p.m. in the Mount Errigal Hotel. If you're engaged with those services, get along to that meeting is what is being said. And we'll get an update with you as to what happens with this meeting on the 16th. Yeah. Where's that taking place?
That is taking place in the Clanry.
Right, okay.
That meeting is only
It's a private meeting,
It's a private meeting,
yeah, but in other words, you don't have to travel down to Galway, really was the motivation for the question. But we'll keep people updated as to what comes to that meeting, and hopefully they come with something because of the significance of the situation.
Well, that's what I think, Greg. Now, this is our opportunity now for speaking for our children. Mm-hmm. So, as I say, encourage all parents to involve with CD&T. Please come to that meeting in Mount Errigal. Again, the Donegal Southwest one the night before. Please go on that Zoom meeting. I know it's not perfect. Maybe they might change it now as parents we get on.
Yeah, well, we must get in contact with them and ask the motivation for putting it on at 5:00 in the evening and doing it on Zoom. I'd be interested in their explanation.
Yeah.
Okay, Leonard, unless there's anything you want to add?
Well, just again, I'd like to thank you and Highland. You have highlighted this very well. Congratulations on your award. Well worthy, to you and the team here. But no, listen, we have to keep the noise going because we just can't go quiet in this. With this next 3
But we're starting to prove time and time again that when people organise themselves and use outlets like this and others, that's when we start to see change and action. And as I say, we're not count our chickens yet because there's a long way to go on this, but we're going to keep right on top of it, Leonard, and hopefully things ease for all of those people affected by the lack of services here. Well done to you, Leonard, for all the efforts you're putting in as always and have been for a very long time. We really do appreciate it, and thanks so much for joining us, and we'll chat again after that meeting on the 16th.
Thanks very much, Craig.
All right, back with the news shortly.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Creative Landscaping Works are the Donegal distributors of millboard cladding and decking. Thanks to its unique polymer resin construction, this decking and cladding doesn't deteriorate like natural wood and won't be beaten for durability. It also has superb slip resistance, even when wet, and every board is produced using recycled materials. Live life outside with millboard at Creative Landscaping Works, Lisnen and Letterkenny. See creativelandscapingworks.com.
It pays to plant trees. Planting on your farmland as part of the new forestry programme could deliver real financial benefits for you today and in the years to come. You'll get guaranteed financial support, earn ongoing premium payments, and take comfort in knowing there's a secure income stream. Ireland needs to increase forestry to combat climate change, increase biodiversity, and improve our rivers. So for you, for all of us, it pays to plant trees. Explore your options at gov.ie/forestry. An initiative of the Government of Ireland.
The Connolly Motor Group 2024 Donegal Motor Show continues with Cupra Sligo at Canal Road, Letterkenny from the 10th to the 14th of October. Test drive the 241 Cupra range, including the Cupra Fermenter SUV to the 100% electric Cupra Born. Drive into 2024 with your brand new Cupra from Connolly Motor Group. For more information, visit connellys.ie.
In the final clearance sale at Watson Menswear, a selection of casual jackets, shirts, polo shirts and suits are half price. Also, men's and women's super dry and a selection of kids' clothing clearing at half price. And there's 2 pairs of jeans from €70. These offers are for a limited time only or while stocks last. In the big final clearance sale now on at Watson Menswear, Main Street, Letterkenny. Open 7 days, late Thursdays and Fridays.
Want to live a more sustainable lifestyle, but not too sure how to start? Join me, Donna Marie Doherty, every Tuesday at 12:30 for It's Ours to Protect to learn all the tips and tricks. Ours to Protect is funded by Commission Naman with a television licence fee and is a partnership between Highland Radio and the Independent Broadcasters of Ireland. Check out ourstoprotect.ie for more info.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
Okay, it's 11 o'clock. Brendan Devaney's about to join us, but first, let's get a news update, and it's over to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. This weekend saw another 4 people lose their lives on Irish roads, one of them in Donegal. Yesterday afternoon, a male motorcyclist in his 40s died following a single vehicle collision outside Glenties. The road from Frosses to Kilrain remains closed this morning as Gardaí continue a technical examination. They're urging anyone who witnessed the collision or has dashcam footage to come forward. 78 GPs in Donegal have signed a letter to the Health Minister calling for urgent action at Letterkenny University Hospital's emergency department. They've aired concerns over patient safety in the ED, particularly over timely access to service, and say if there is not significant change, patients will have unacceptable wait times to access basic emergency care. On today's 9 till noon show, Fanad GP Dr. Padraig McGuinness said it got to the point where GPs in Donegal are scared. He warned if their concerns aren't addressed, they'll take their patients to the streets. Meanwhile, Letterkenny was the 3rd most overcrowded hospital in the country this morning. In total, 555 people nationally awaiting beds in hospitals across the country this morning. Letterkenny University Hospital had 41 admitted patients that were still awaiting beds in the hospital. University Hospital Limerick, the worst affected, with 102. Donegal County Council is being asked to prioritise the Bonagee link in discussions with Transport Infrastructure Ireland on the implementation of the 10T project, which includes roads from Letterkenny to Manor Cunningham to Lifford and Lifford to the border linking with the A5. Councillor Michael McBride will tell a meeting of Letterkenny Milford MD that traffic in Letterkenny is now so bad he believes the second bridge over the Swilly is the only solution to what's become regular chronic congestion. And people may have to wait longer to say goodbye to their loved ones because of an ongoing shortage of priests. The Association of Catholic Priests says lay-led ceremonies will become more common in this country. Dublin's Archdiocese is among those already introducing training programmes in preparations for funerals without a fully ordained priest present. And we're back with news headlines again at 12 noon.
Donald, thank you very much indeed.
An éon rud atá rágad na de bhéadthg rudaí beaga chur asca de bhearláinte.
Is é?
Deacrachtaí cuddalta.
Se.
nó má bhíon faoi bhrú a gcónaí.
Se.
nó imníoch go minic.
Tá buinte acu ilig le a bhearláinte.
Cén dóí a bhfuil is a go é seo ilig?
Brat níam im a dhé féin faoi mar is óldit.
Imní, brúseasta, ísle brí, gan a bheithan an colla, buinn siad seo ilig le a bhearláinte. Déan an ceangal agus bhaicúnamh ag yourmentalhealth.ie. Ó aimimeach na séirfíse sláinte.
All right, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show, and I can't actually believe he's made it in. It's Brendan Devaney. Hi, Brendan.
Yeah, Greg. I can't believe it myself. It was a bit of a rough night, yeah. I was led astray.
Come here. No, but we'll get the names of the people that led you astray.
Yeah, we'll out them.
Guido Sean McCool's Oisin Gallen. He is the star of the future. He's the star of now.
Yeah.
But who's to say what success he might bring to his club and to his county, and he'll be kicking himself and the rest of the team too to be on the losing side.
He was unbelievable. Yeah, I was speaking to him yesterday at McCool Park at the Niamh Connell Unions game. Lovely fella, along with it, Greg, really down to earth. What a player from McCool's. What a, I suppose, a man they have around the club for people they look up to and aspire to. And listen, every game, Greg, he just keeps doing it. And I mean, he almost took McCool's into a county final. And of course, listen, there's no disrespect to the rest of the team. Everybody plays their part. But I mean, when you have somebody of his talent, I mean, Jim McGuinness was there looking on, and I'm sure he's thinking, this guy is absolutely golden to have someone like him in our ranks as well. Of course, for Donegal coming into next season, it's going to be massive.
But it was Guido's day, and new manager delivering success. What's it, the first final in 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years. I think it's since a trilogy with Niamh Connolly. We're also champions, and champions going into that, and they had those finals won in different games, but Niamh Connell, as we know, as they've kept proving since, are never beaten until that final whistle blows, and they managed to come through that one. So you kind of thought at that point, Greg Guido, particularly after winning Ulster and that, they had a brilliant under-21 team. You were thinking that they're going to be thereabouts every year. So they dropped off a small bit, so it's big for them to be back. Ronan McNeely's doing a brilliant job there. Francie Freeland coaching, and they're missing players too. Like, they've quite a few players emigrated this season, so it was actually a tough season for them. So the fact they've guided them to a county final is brilliant. There's people talking about flying people back in from far-flung places. I think that's a bit of a long shot. I know it isn't that long ago Cian Mulligan left, who's one of their best forwards. So it's a pity he's away now. Whether that's a possibility or not, Greg, remains to be seen.
They're going to play Niamh Connell, but St Eunan's fans, I don't know about the team themselves, might be kicking themselves that it's not St Eunan's that's going to be contesting that final.
Well, I suppose if you think about it, it's Niamh Connell deserved to win the game. When you're playing a team that's as well coached as them, I spoke to Martin Regan after. There's interviews from all the managers over the weekend. I spoke to them all. It's all up on this HighlandRadio.com. Niamh Connell's so well coached, they're so good at what they do, and they play a game plan, Greg, and yesterday they played it pretty perfectly. In terms of going forward, one wide in the game is absolutely phenomenal shooting. Eunan's at 10 or 11. I think they had 11 in the match. So one wide, 12 shots, 11 points. So every time they went forward, they made use of what they were doing. Their points were top class. They've got some seasoned players in there. They don't give up the ball cheaply. And if you're going to be Eunan's and take on a side like that, your game has to be perfect. And the amount of possession Eunan's gave away yesterday, cheap possession, dropping balls, poor passes. And then when they got forward, Eunan's wide count but was huge. Now, people say they were under a bit of pressure for that, which is fair enough. But that side of your game has to be perfect, and Eunan's were far from it yesterday. Listen, Niamh Connell, even though you've only 2 points in the end of that game, that Niamh Connell were in complete control in that game.
Yeah.
And
there was a gear if needed.
Well, for me, looking at it, say, if I'm thinking football, I think Niamh Connell could have overran Eunan's in the second half if they'd have wanted, but they don't never seem to want to do that. They just sit. Now, people at the match will say neutrally, not a great game of football. They're never exciting kind of games. They're exciting in small bits, of course. Teams are on the break or different things. It's not a great game of football, But I mean, there's no 7 finals in a row. It's record-breaking stuff. They're by far.
But there's more on the line, wasn't there, than the place in the final? Obviously, avenging last year's final defeat, and maybe that's why it all bowled over. But
yeah, I think from the group game, there was a few fists thrown at the end of that. I think that caused a bit of kick-up. It wasn't nice to see. And, I think from Niamh Conlon's perspective, having been in that position, if you're in a semi-final and a row breaks out, you don't want anything to do with that because you could get suspended for a final. So I think, the biggest thing for them was probably try and get out of the way of that. And but that, I think, came from the group game. There was a lot of nastiness going on, Greg, which isn't nice to see.
So there's no secret then, really, as to how Niamh Conlon will set up for the final. Presumably they go in as favourites. So what has to be done? What do Gweedore have to do to beat this machine then?
Well, this is it, Greg. It's a thing most people haven't been able to come up with the goods in terms of going around it. I mean, if you think back to that trilogy game, Gweedore were probably one of the best Gweedore teams ever, and they still at times looked like they were going to open up, but Niamh Conlon hang in there. This time, Niamh Conlon are coming on there with absolute complete confidence. Big Gavin McBride went off the Gweedore full forward the last day. The word is he's going to miss the game as well. So listen, it's a huge ask. People talk about finals and things happen in finals, but not when you're as tactically set up as Niamh Conlon. They tend not to happen. Yeah. So listen, for Gweedore on the ball, managing to open up space, and when you get inside that 45, you cannot give the ball away. You either got to get a man off the shoulder, you got to win a free, or you got to make possession that you can get a shot away, and then you got to take your chances. Yeah. That's what you have to do. Now, even McGee's inside, if they had a big Gavin as well, there's probably a platform for a long ball in, which people talk about, but there's always extra numbers there for Niamh Conlon. If it breaks, more than likely it's going to break the defender. So this is the conundrum. You have to be very good with runners coming from deep, coming off the shoulder, movement in your forward line. But as I say, I would say, is there a better team, not only probably in Ulster, maybe in Ireland, a better team than Niamh Conlon at doing what they do? And that's why I say they've been so successful.
Yeah, indeed. And it's going to be an interesting game. And a lot of it will be, you'll hear commentary, the underdog's tag will suit Gweedore. And yes, as a former player, you've been in a lot of dressing rooms, a lot of big games. You've been the favourites going into some games, the underdogs into others. Explain to me how the underdog label suits the team. Yeah, it used to be a thing from years ago. I think I go back to what you were saying about tactics. On the day, people come out with this wild championship bite and they just go at the other team, and you'll see a drop off maybe in performance from a team. But because Niamh Conlon play so tactically, you generally get a similar type of performance week in, week out, every game they play. So on the day, maybe doesn't count that much. That said, 2 seasons ago, I think the final that Unions won, Niamh Conlon didn't really turn up that day. It was a very unusual performance from them. So Gweedore will be relying or hoping that there's maybe a bit of drop in their performance like that. But really, Greg, this comes down to Gweedore playing out of their skin, taking every chance that they can going forward. And the underdog tag, I know Niamh Conlon people say they don't like going in as favourites. That season, for example, that final I'm talking about, Niamh Conlon were favourites going in. And I know a few of the people remarked to me that they don't like that. But, I talked to Niamh Conlon people before the game and after it, around Balbuffet yesterday, you see the same people all the time supporting, they're up about, they're happy they're in a final again. And Martin Regan, his interviews I say up on the site, and I was just saying about the time that he's put in and his family to Niamh Conlon. I mean, it's unbelievable, in terms of dedication to the club. Some questions and messages, texts coming in. Do you think that the main narrative, not by you, up until now around the Niamh Conlon team has been that they were a good team but won county semi-finals mainly through sheer doggedness and grit and didn't get genuine credit? Yeah, there is that argument to it, Greg. I think from neutral's perspective, you see, because the game isn't that exciting and is played in a certain way, it probably doesn't live long in the memory in terms of maybe football matches. In terms of, as I said to you yesterday, Niamh Conlon, I think, could have won the game by far more. In the second half, could have really went at St. Eunice, because I think when they went forward, Eunice couldn't stop them. But they just sit and they're happy enough to win games again. So some people then maybe don't remember
the games as much. I think that's probably that's a neutral kind of narrative in it there. But I mean, I don't think, obviously it doesn't bother them. They're just happy to keep winning. That's what they're doing.
Do you think Guido will be dangerous in the final? They're live opposition, like.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose the big one for them, Dara Boyle coming back from holidays. I think he might have cut it a bit short as well. The SOS went out to him. He was in Bali or somewhere like that. He came back, and of course the evergreen Eamon McGee and Neil McGee are in their backbone in the team. So Gidor have a good mix of experience in that, and you've seen it against maybe McCool's the last time. McCool's a very young team. Gidor a bit better on the ball, finding range. Ethan Harkin had a great game for them, which is a big plus going in the forwarding. It had 1-5, I think. So, you know, there are a lot of plus points going in, but Greg, they're definitely going in as big underdogs.
Someone said to me, and it wasn't off the game that you just mentioned there, but someone said it. In fact, this has been mentioned to me twice. Interesting to get your views on it. That the game that I don't know how to phrase this. That young players maybe are being held back a little bit because, you know, some stalwarts haven't hung up their boots.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, listen.
I'm trying to phrase this carefully, right? That the progression, the younger players, the super talented younger players, are not necessarily getting the chances or the progression that they possibly would, because there are, you know, a few players in different teams that are hanging on. Anything to it?
Well, do you know what? Listen, if you're good enough, they used to say, you're good enough, you're young enough.
Sometimes you're on name and reputation, though.
Yeah. Well, you still have to put it in. Right? You know, a manager's going to pick you if you're good enough to play, regardless of age, you know, and that's young or old. So there probably is an aspect of that in certain teams, but if you look at people, I'm talking about Niamh Connell there, I mean, Thompson and McClune and these boys just keep churning it out. Brendan McDyer and all these guys. They keep playing away. They're still contributing to the team, and I'm sure Martin Regan, if he had a younger guy in there, was going to do a better job, then he would be on the pitch.
Yeah, all right. I'm a St. Eunan's woman too. Best team won. Well done, Niamh Connell. Eunan's not playing football. Too many players dictating. I don't know if you want to comment on that.
Yeah, listen, it's a difficult proposition. I often hear people saying, don't be going over and back with the ball. If you have 15 players inside the 45 and they're well coached and they're good footballers, you have to at times go over and back. Like, there is no easy method to get through a packed blanket defence, and that's just how it is.
St. Eunan's must be disappointed, says another listener. They didn't know what to do yesterday. The game was there for the winning, but there was no change in plan in the second half.
Yeah.
So in other words, there was no adjustment.
Listen, there's no kind of magic formula to take this. As I was saying to you before, that is about trying to get incisive, trying to beat one man, trying to get an overlap, trying to get somebody in around the back. Eunan's did do that, Greg. The shots were coming. They just didn't go over the bar. But there was a feeling, right? There was still a feeling that it just wasn't going to happen. Yeah, you know.
How come Eunan's didn't change their way from last year and practice long kicks?
Yeah, this is it, Greg. There is an opportunity. There would be more of an opportunity, I think, to put the ball in long. But if you look at it at the end, what was reference to Eunan's day, there was an attempt to put the ball in for a possible goal chance at the end, and the ball went outside the right of the goals and wide. Leo McClune just let it run past him. I thought that summed up Eunan's day. We couldn't even kick the ball into the 5 yard for a flick in, and it was just kind of like that summed up the day.
Yeah. Brendan Kilcoyne and John Gilday is going to be on the show tonight with Brendan. That's the DL debate after 7 to review all of the weekend's action. A lot went on, and also a big weekend next weekend, junior and intermediate finals as well.
We've got interviews from the guys. There was a wee bit of a preview yesterday in the park, up in McCool Park upstairs, and just how times change, isn't it? I was speaking to McCool's secretary. I was like, what's the story of the bar? The bar wasn't opening that. He says, people don't come up anymore. And I remember, you're on a bit like the years gone by myself, there was always wild crack in the bar upstairs and that. We went up for something to eat then up the road in the Villa Rose, and there was only a few people about, a few Niamh Connell people. I was getting a bit of a touch, of course, which is fine. My wee boys running about in the Eunan's jersey. I was saying to Trazer, we put a tracksuit top on them. When we go up here, I'm going to get too much stick. But you know, I was just saying the change in times, Greg. There was always a wild crowd about everywhere, and he's saying people don't come up anymore. I didn't know this at all. But up there, it was a bit of a preview. Declan Boner was there, and a great story from Moville. Pat McLaughlin and Johnny Quigg were there, two soccer men. Quiggy would have played with me at Harps. they came in and took the Maville team, the GA team, and Quiggy's never nothing to do with GA in his life, and he was training the team. Brilliant. So it's a great story there in the final. I mean, Narasa, Declan Bunners Narasa, and then Malin and Downlands. So we talked to Kevin Cookie Gallagher and Michael Byrne. So that'll be all in the show. Do you want to call them? Oh, difficult, Greg. Oh, I have a wee bit of a sneak for Malin, sorry, Cookie, in the intermediate, and Narasa.
You're going to be launching that boat in Malin here.
Narasa.
Do you want to review
Narasa,
that?
Yeah, listen, I better watch.
Wouldn't be hard to block that slip in Downlands, boy.
Hey, people do get sensitive, Greg. All right, this stuff. I always be surprised at that, but yeah, what are you saying about it?
Anyway, so listen, the big weekends just keep coming and coming and coming. It's fantastic stuff. There's so much to go through tonight. Brendan Kilcoyne, John Gilday, and all the voices you'd expect to hear ahead of the next week's action, the junior and intermediate finals as well for next week. It's all on from 7, Brendan.
That's it.
And it's all thanks to Sister Sarah's there supporting the show.
Well done, your word. You're looking good in the old penguin suit, boys.
Very much indeed.
You scrub up well.
See, I'm a winner, Brendan. A winner.
Perfect,
unlike St. Eunan's yesterday.
Oh, the knives are coming on. You better watch the text line will be flat.
Between that and hard as nails 35-year-olds defenders looking to kick the crap out of me. All right, listen, Brent, thanks very much indeed. Looking forward to that. By the way, it's live for you after 7. It's a cracking show, the DL debate. There's people from all over the county and country that listen to it because they enjoy how the presentation and the conversation, and also previewing next weekend's action as well. That's all with Brendan Devaney.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Caróí the vaccine flu agus COVID-19 leat the chóras in mínachta an náirtónaig tinnas chromcúiseach. Multar vaccine fluúdid má tá tú 65 nó ní sinne. Multar chandáileach fómhar COVID-19 dit má tá tú 5 nó ní sinne. Multar an dá vaccine dibra chóram sláinte agus déan duine tá gompar cluine nó bhfuil ruch sláinte fe téarmach orthú. Leir le Dr. Tiley nó cógasúra an fartach nó chun níos mó ólasáil fecar hsc.ie on HSC.
Brian McCormick, Sports and Leisure, supporting you with the right footwear. Hoka Trainers. Have you tried the Hoka Sensation yet? Hoka provides comfort, support and shock absorption, which makes them a good choice for frequent runners and walkers, or anyone whose job requires standing for the majority of the day. For support or pronation, try the Arari 6. For maximum cushioning, try Hoka Bondi 8. Check in store or shop online at bmcsports.ie. Step into our safe-sized experience at Brian McCormick Sports.
Get more, pay even less. Download the Lidl Plus app now. Tap to activate your coupons and cut costs with exclusive super savers like Irish carrots now 49 cent and Board B approved Irish chicken breast fillets now 5.79. Just scan those Lidl Plus coupons at the till. Go on, get more, pay even less. Go full Lidl today.
We go through a lot to connect with our family. That's why Vodafone Red Family now rewards you with a minimum of €20 off every month when you add broadband to your plan. So moments like getting the dog they desperately wanted can be more rewarding after you've fed it, walked it, cleaned it, played with it, walked it, taken it to the vet, and walked it again. Search Vodafone Red Family or go in store. Vodafone. Together we can.
Offer subject to being a 3rd to 6th connection joining a Red Family account on a Bill Pay Mobile or Vodafone Home Broadband plan. For full terms, see vodafone.ie/Red Family.
Shop Evolve Clothing, Napa Peary, Carhartt, Diesel, Jack & Jones, and many more casual and streetwear brands. Menswear Superstore, Letterkenny Retail Park, or online at evolveclothing.com. 2 floors of fashion, open 7 days.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
The time's 11:21 and we're joined on the programme now by Marie Duffy, Communications Officer with Mental Health Ireland. Good morning, Marie. How are you?
Morning, Greg. How's things?
Good. And a difficult weekend for you and for so many people, for all of us, really. Obviously, being a Creasla native, it's just so sad, isn't it? And it's still so sad.
Yeah, I guess this was a very difficult weekend for lots of people in Creasla, and not just Creasla, people all over Donegal. We know that we had people all over the world thinking of us this weekend. And I guess for a lot of people, the first anniversary is always going to be the toughest. But in one way, we're kind of glad that it's been marked now. But of course, it's still early days in people's kind of recovery.
Yeah, and as I said when we were having the conversation last week, it's different for everyone. Everyone's different, and everyone has their own journey and experience. Thanks for reference that, Marie. October 10th, tomorrow, is World Mental Health Day, but Mental Health Ireland is effectively stretching it out to Mental Health Month. Talk to us about that, Marie.
Yeah, so every year, October 10th is World Mental Health Day. And this year and last year, Mental Health Ireland have decided to extend the day to a whole month of celebration around wellbeing and mental health. And we have events all over the country. We're raising awareness about mental health. We want people talking about mental health. There's often a lot of questioning around awareness months and awareness days and if they work. The research tells us that they do work and they help reduce stigma. They get people talking about mental health, and that's what we want. We want the average person having a conversation with their friends, their family, their neighbours, talking about mental health and slowly chipping away at that stigma.
And that's what it is, isn't it, Marie? Because we are making progress, but we've an awful long way to go. We certainly couldn't sit back now and say, right, the stigma no longer exists and people feel as free to talk about an issue with their mental health as they might a twisted ankle. We're still a long, long way from that because people will be afraid that they'll be judged by others.
Yeah, we've made huge strides around mental health stigma over the past few years, but we have a very long way to go. We know that people are still scared to talk to their friends, their family about their mental health. We know that they're afraid to come out in their workplaces and speak to managers and about mental health, about mental illness, about anything like that. We are getting better. And even the small conversations really help. I know a lot of people think, well, I'm only one person, what can I do? But even just sharing the message tomorrow on your social media throughout the month of October, every little conversation does help. Mm-hmm. And as I said, it's about chipping away. We won't do it all tomorrow or even this month, but if we make a small start, it's something.
Yeah, and also too, it's about maintaining our mental health or recognising if we have a mental health issue that's impacting on our lives, but we just expect to accept it as the norm. Because what we've noticed, and we've seen it with rural isolation, and the whole country saw it through lockdown, exactly what that's like. Even just talking, using this month to, I don't know, reignite friendships or to reach out to someone, in a way, you're part of mental health awareness because you might be helping them and maintain their good mental health or yourself. Do you know what I mean? So it's not always necessarily, someone who is in a very, who's suffering badly with the mental health reaching out. That's incredibly important, but it's about maintaining it and looking after ourselves as best we can.
Yeah, I suppose when we talk about mental health, we talk about all the aspects of mental health. So that's the good, the bad, the in-between. It's really about well-being. Unfortunately, we only seem to talk about mental health when it comes to mental illness. But it's a bit like maintaining your fitness, your physical health. It is something that you need to work on every day. And it's about staying well. It's much easier to stay well and put those little efforts in every day. We work on the principle of the 5 ways to well-being, and they're 5 very simple, practical things that you can do every day to maintain your well-being. And as you said, connection's a huge one. It doesn't have to be going out on a weekend with your friends. That's not for everybody. It could be as simple as meeting up for a coffee, sending someone a text. In this day and age, we often feel that we need a reason to meet up with someone. We need a reason to reach out. Just send that text. I guarantee that your friend or whoever you're texting will be delighted to hear from you. And I suppose the other few things around the well-being, 5 ways for well-being, is being active. We know that being active is extremely good for your mental health. And that doesn't mean climbing Muckish or Errigal. It means going out for the 10-minute walk. We're very lucky in Donegal that we have lots of beautiful nature. Go to the local beach, go to the forest, get out. You don't have to walk miles. Cleaning the house, little things, more movement.
Because
yes, there's loads of things that we can do.
And there's loads of stuff out there as well. And obviously I recognise it can depend on people's mobility or access to transport. But, you know, when we talk about things like this, we get contacts from, I don't know, men's sheds. Do you know what I mean? Where they're so welcoming and you just call in and there's not, you know, there's no inquisition. You just go in and you join up and you enjoy it. There's walking groups, there's poetry groups, there's art. There's something for everyone out there. And you might actually be surprised that it's very close to you in your area. So just talking to that point about interacting with people, maybe the local pub and post office has closed, but there is other stuff there if you just take that first step and see what local groups or organisations are in your area and build your friendships and relationships that way. You're also, as an organisation, obviously, you know, celebrating what we're good at, which is helping each other. If someone reaches their hand out in this country, we generally are there to take that hand and to help them, but also to keep the pressure on the powers that be to ensure that, you know, when someone does look for some support, that those supports are there. There's many aspects to this month-long campaign, Marie.
Yeah, so we've got lots of things going on. We are launching a booklet for women on the menopause and how that impacts on people's mental health. We don't talk enough about things like that, but it affects so many women and men as well, are indirectly impacted. We're working with workplaces. We have a free e-learning module that is for managers and workplaces around embedding mental health and well-being into your workplace. We've got events all over the country. And just sharing messages on social media. You don't need to necessarily go to, like, if you're struggling or you want to reach out, like, as you said, the men's shed. I'm pretty sure most people don't talk about their mental health at the men's shed, but it's hugely beneficial for their mental health. We're not necessarily go out and telling people that you have to focus solely on the conversation of mental health. Connecting, no matter what you talk about, is beneficial. Getting active, taking up a hobby, joining your local community group, volunteering, all those things are beneficial for your mental health, and you don't necessarily, you're probably already doing it and you don't realize. And I guess for us, we want looking after your mental health to be as natural as brushing your teeth in the morning, something that you do without thinking. And we're getting there, but we still have a long way to go.
Yeah, and there's loads of resources and information on the website, World Mental Health Month. -mhi.ie. Plenty of resources there. That's the Mental Health Ireland's website. It is indeed. And as I say, you know, lots of little things can have that ripple effect and you know, just get us to a better place, get everyone to a better place, Marie, as much as is possible. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. We have a few events coming on, happening over the month in Donegal.
Go on, talk to us about them, go through them.
Okay, so we have our development officer, Bill Vaughan, who will be heading out to Arnmore tomorrow to talk to the people out there about health and well-being and how they can mind their mental health. On the 12th of October, he will be going to Tory Islands. So we're getting all the islands in. On the 12th of October, we also have events for that's being held by the Intercultural Platform for migrant men. That's on the 12th of October in Trinity Hall. And then on the 22nd of October, I'll be holding a fundraising walk for Mental Health Ireland on the Muckish Railway Walk, just outside of Creasla. And everyone is welcome to come along to that. We'll have lots of information about mental health on the day. We're going to be connecting with each other, walking in nature, and just getting a bit of fresh air.
Lovely. Sounds great. Okay. Marie, thanks very much for your time this morning. I do appreciate it. And have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Greg.
Bye-bye. Marie Duffy there, Communications Officer with Mental Health Ireland.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Autumn is here, and so are the new arrivals at Green Shoes. Shop in store or online now from top brands like Doc Martens, Kate Appleby, Tommy Bow and Riker. Also New Balance, Wonders, Echo and many more. Shop LK and one for all gift cards accepted in store. Visit Green Shoes and discover the perfect footwear to complement your style. Green Shoes at Market Square, Letterkenny Shopping Centre, Fulcara and online at greenshoes.com.
It's the Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring biggest ever sale. Up to 50% off everything in store. All tiles, all wood flooring, all outdoor slabs, cladding and bathware. Everything slashed in price. This sale is not to be missed. Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring biggest ever half-price sale ends Sunday.
Hurry! The Furniture Show NI ends this weekend. Your last chance to save with massive discounts from leading brands in furniture and interiors. From sofas, beds, flooring and design. CFC have it all reduced in their biggest sale. Don't miss the Furniture Show NI exclusively at CFC Interiors Campsie Derry.
Join us on the 14th of October at the Letterkenny Motor Show as we showcase our range of 241 Kias and 241 Nissan vehicles that will be available to order for January 241. Our sales team will be on hand to answer any questions you may have. iMotors, your home for Kia and Nissan in Donegal.
For 1 week and 1 week only, you can get 15% off at McElhenney's department store across women's and men's fashion, kids and shoes. Discount is available online at mcelhenneys.com using code AUTUMN15 or in-store at McElhenney's Ballybuffet. Don't want to miss out? Then we will see you at the checkout.
Hi folks, Paul McDevitt here, inviting and join myself and Jimmy Stafford this Monday night for another edition of the Monday Night Sessions. On the show this week, we welcome the brilliant Belfast singer-songwriter Jobby Fox. Also in the programme, we give a massive welcome from Lifford to Brendan and Jimmy Maxwell. Plus, we'll also be playing you some of the latest new releases from the Northwest and around the country. So, that's the Monday Night Sessions this Monday night between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. right here on Highland Radio.
Now, LGBT Ireland have launched a new campaign aimed at empowering and supporting LGBTQI plus people in Donegal ahead of National Coming Out Day, which is on Wednesday, the 11th of October. It's entitled Empowering Anthems. Adam McBride is Head of Services and Engagement Programmes at LGBT Ireland. Good morning to you, Adam.
Good morning, Greg.
How are you getting on?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
Good. Talk to us about National Coming Out Day and its importance / significance.
So National Coming Out Day celebrates the experience of coming out for members of the LGBTQI plus community. So coming out can be very difficult. It can be a very stressful time for people. There's always that fear of rejection, but there's also very positive elements of coming out where people feel like they can feel very empowered and that they've taken ownership of their own life. So it's kind of celebrating that, but also to raise awareness of the difficulties that can face members of the community in coming out, and I suppose to let them know that we're there.
Are we
support them
moving forward, progressing, or is there some regression now for members of the community?
Ireland definitely was moving forward and progressing very well around human rights and also just around the kind of felt sense of being safe to, I suppose, walk down the street holding hands with your partner. In recent years, though, we have definitely seen some bit of a regression around it. My colleague Pádraig Rice, our head of policy, delivered an address to the Oireachtas recently in relation to the year of hate of 2022. So there was a lot of hate crimes against members of our community in 2022, some of which obviously were very extreme and have definitely had an effect on the community and how we feel in relation to safety.
Yeah, and some of them too are, it's kind of peculiar in that communities aren't even almost able to grieve as some of these, and particularly their horrific murders, end up being weaponized in some way or other, in pitching certain groups against others. It's a strange space we found ourselves in, if you understand what I'm trying to say sensitively, Adam.
Yes, we've definitely found ourselves, I think, in a place where certain members of our community and certain people within our community are being used, I suppose, to try and pit us against each other, which of course we don't want, and the community as a whole stands firm together. So yes, it is very difficult to, I suppose, negotiate some of that.
Yeah. Now, what is how do people engage with this, particularly on the social media, the hashtag and all that type of stuff? Tell us about that.
So the idea of this is to ask people, so we know that music is really important to a lot of people, and we're asking allies and members of our community to select their empowering anthems, so something that makes them feel good, makes them feel motivated and empowered, and to share it on social media with the hashtag empowering anthems. So we've got a couple of different well-known personalities who have been engaged in it so far. So that includes Brendan Courtney, Shane Daniel Byrne and Sonia Lennon. And we'd just like people to share their song and make a donation to LGBT Ireland and share it across Instagram, Twitter, any other social media. Sorry, I said Twitter, X. And
maybe not there.
Maybe not there. Yes, maybe not there these days. Yes. So
no, but actually, it's important. No, it is important that people don't retreat. No, but you know yourself the way it is nowadays. Okay, so you hashtag empowering anthems posted across your social media. I think also it's important that others support as well as part of it, be it a share or a like or whatever it might be, even if it's not something you feel directly affects you, because there's a bit of solidarity in there as well.
Definitely, yes. Like, our allies are so important to us, and we really appreciate everything they do for us. Like we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for our allies. So we really appreciate and respect them. And within Ireland, I think the majority of Irish people are very supportive. So
but for a very good reason, because a lot of people have a member of the LGBTQI plus community within their family. You know, so that's the majority, if the truth be told, not the minority. Have you picked your anthem yet?
I have, yes, but it's a very old-fashioned one. I haven't shared it yet. But
so
yes.
Do you want to save it for Wednesday?
Yeah, something like that.
You're not going to tell us? Okay.
It's Scarlett's independent love song, so I'm Scarlett saying it. But yes, that was always my anthem when I was growing up.
God, you have to own it.
You have to own it. Yeah, I know. Empowering anthems.
Okay, yeah, exactly. And there's a story. Lots of people have a story to accompany their choice. We look forward to listening to yours on Wednesday. So you can get more information where, Adam?
So you can get more information on LGBT Ireland's website, so that's lgbt.ie, and on our Facebook and Instagram pages. You can also, if somebody is looking to contact our services because they need to talk or they need support, they can call our national helpline, which is 1-800-929-539, and that's open the evenings and from 4 to 6 both weekend days.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to contact us for support or just need to talk to someone, so that's an active listening service.
Brilliant stuff. All right, thanks so much for joining us. I really do appreciate your time, and have a wonderful day.
That's great. Thank you, Greg.
Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
That is Adam McBride, Head of Services and Engagement Programme at LGBT Ireland, talking ahead of National Coming Out Day, which is on Wednesday, the 11th of December. A big thank you to our friends over at Kelly's. They sent over a lovely hamper. They always do beautiful things, but when I'm on air and I can smell croissants and the curly yolks, and I can't eat them because I've tried to eat one before during an ad break and it doesn't work, and I hope there's going to be some left by the time I'm finished. But we really do appreciate the gesture. Thank you so very much indeed to all the crew over at Kelly's, and thank you all for keeping us so busy on the phone lines. Lots of big stories today, not least that letter issued from GPs to the Health Minister as it relates to their concerns over services at Letterkenny University Hospital. You've been having your say in that regard as well, which is hugely important, as you know. We'll get to some of those and more before the end of the programme.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Toast your Christmas party this year at Century Complex with delicious food, a superb atmosphere and excellent service. We have something to suit everyone. Make your night extra special by adding a premium cinema experience. To book, call 074 9121976 or visit centurycinemas.ie for more information on Century Complex this Christmas.
It's the home of the vegan butchers, the artisan bakers, the freestyle lyricists, and the trouser suit striders. It's the urban jungle, where the everyday meets the latest wave. And you could see it all from your Seat SUV. From the sharp lines and smart style of the Arona to the bold and beautiful Ateca. And if size is your thing, the Tarraco comes as a 7-seater. See what's in store at seat.ie for our latest offers. And visit DMG Motors, Clore Road, Donegal Town. Because your new Seat is just waiting to see what's next.
The minute I meet Damien, my face lights up. I mean, that's true, it lights up. And the point about it is this, you can say what you like to him. Now, he doesn't always agree with you.
You can make this town look so kind of.
It feels amazing to make someone feel amazing. Volunteer with Alone. Find out more at alone.ie/volunteer.
In your house there, by the sea.
Is your business or farm having difficulty getting a loan or restructuring bank debt? The good news is there's something you can do about it. For over 10 years, Credit Review has helped Irish SMEs by appealing unfavourable credit decisions. For more information, visit creditreview.ie. Credit Review is an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
Argy March and Jehula by around the northwest Bia on init Brisha Jahash agus Alina is Ura de Hodge Ward Jahash agus Alina Gwynanal, or Wohor na Puerca Gno, Litter Canning. Is le hay Laia Falchin the Maclean a Veyer Shul, on two Sahar Lish and Chair Manua. The Omishni Smo Alish, Fuin Rimsha Cursi Lan agus Parchamshaha, Fuin Chervish Alish agus Chor Daishi, Fuin Takiact Maclean, agus Fuin Rimsha Gnewiacta a Wiener Shul Saninit. Bigi Lane March on Doyag Bia on Inid Brisha Jahashi Gazalina is Ura de Hodge ETB Gwynanal or Wohor na Puerca Gno Litter Canning.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport, where you can now fly daily to London Heathrow with Aer Lingus and connect via Heathrow to over 80 destinations worldwide, including Boston, New York and more.
Sunny spells are expected to develop during this afternoon. Warm and humid with highest temperatures of 18 to 21 degrees in moderate southwest breezes. Mostly cloudy overnight with patchy rain or drizzle spreading from the west. The hospital, I think it's a disgrace that people with serious mental health issues who've been admitted to the mental health unit on numerous occasions still have to go through the ED first. I know someone like this who was sent home from the ED in a terrible state. They didn't check their history, only have to go again a week later because of a worsening in their condition. If anything would have happened to them in that week, the hospital would have had to be held responsible. Another, what about the people that come in with alcohol and drugs at the weekend? Never hear that mentioned, Greg, on a regular basis. Security can't cope, not enough of them on. Gardaí can't always get up to the hospital when fights break out, especially at the weekends. It's the reason you wouldn't hear, we've discussed it on this programme, but the reason you might not hear it as much is because we sort of are driven sometimes by what the listeners say. If someone was in and they witnessed that, they come on, they talk to us. But I can tell you, it's certainly not something that's being suppressed in terms of talking about, just to be absolutely clear. Right, Jerry McMonigal is a member of Regional Health Forum, one of the Donegal reps on that. Jerry, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
I mean, it's hard to put into words how significant I think this intervention from 78 GPs in this county is, but it is significant.
Look, I very much welcome their intervention, and I fully support the call for the Minister to meet with them and CELDA to discuss their serious concerns, and the concerns that we've been raising for quite a while now. The ongoing crisis at the emergency department is totally unacceptable. And I know, and I have to say that the staff are trying their very, very best, but all the different pathways and interjections that they're making are not working great. And I'm really pleased to see that the GPs now are taking a stand on this. I mean, when you see what they're saying, is that the GPs are finding it increasingly difficult to send patients or refer them to the emergency department because of the ongoing crisis up there and the length of time patients are awaiting.
The GPs don't have faith in the management team that are currently there. They don't believe that they can fix the problems. Do you agree with that?
I would go some way to agreeing with that, and I've said it in the past. Look, and this is not a personal attack on any of the management. I think it's just beyond them. The crisis is such It's so large. There's been years and years of lack of investment. The health service that we need and deserve has outgrown the hospital and its capacity to deliver a proper healthcare service. So while the management there are trying their best, they're not going to be able to deliver the health service that we need with the resources that they currently have. So it's
but the
very,
health minister,
important.
the health minister would say, "I gave them an extra 31 million last year. Where's that money gone? Things have deteriorated."
Yeah, and let's look and drill down into that and see where has that 31 million gone. There's been all sorts of increases, not least the whole thing around energy, increased wage demands. So how much has really gone into recruiting nurses, consultants, and ensuring that there's a proper health service being delivered?
But they would say also, they would say that...
I've listened to the minister
but they would say...
throughout all of these...
Of course, but I'll let you come back in there, Jerry. Sorry, but they would say the health minister might say, "Well, look there are plenty of vacancies there. We've funded for extra nurses, extra consultants," and then the management would say, "Well, we can't recruit them." Well, maybe they can't be recruited because the situation is so poorly managed at the hospital that people don't want to go work there. Like, I'm very uncomfortable saying that because I don't want this to come across as personal. But when the GPs say they don't have faith in management to fix the problems that exist, you can't ignore that either. And if the health minister says, "Well, we've funded all these spaces, we've given you an extra 31 million, and things are actually getting worse," where does the buck stop eventually?
Yeah, and look, we all the people personally who have the unenvious job of trying to run that health service up there, which has got certainly hasn't got the resources it needs to effectively give us a health service we need and deserve. And it's easy for the minister to throw it back, isn't it, onto the people on the ground who are trying very, very hard, and we have to say that. Although what I think, and I've asked the management at the hospital on a number of occasions to do this, is they stand up and say enough's enough, and admit, and say to the minister loudly and clearly, what you're giving us is not enough to deliver the health service that we require. So we get away from the personal attacks on individuals, and we look at the service and how it's funded and how it's invested in. And over the years, there's been a serious lack of investment in Letterkenny University Hospital. Mm-hmm. Our population is growing. Our demands on the health service is growing. And what we need to do is grow Letterkenny Hospital. And we need an extension on our emergency department for a long time. We need more bed blocks built to facilitate the extra beds that are needed and the extra staff. It is crazy for us to think that keep doing the same thing and a change will come. It won't. It's only going to get worse. And that's where I have the difficulty with management. And that's what I would urge the management to do, is they stand up and say, enough's enough. You need to reinvest and come and look at the difficulties that we're experiencing and invest further in the hospital.
Yeah. But surely there is stuff within the control locally to reform how the ED works. Something as simple as, if someone is in there with a cut in a hand, that they're not sitting for 36 hours to get 2 stitches. Simple stuff like that. Are you saying that that's not within the gift of the management to put measures in place that will remove quite a number of people that, maybe do need stitches or a quick scan or something to move them from that ED setting? Because at the moment, you've got people in there with minor injuries. You've got women potentially having a miscarriage. You've got cancer patients. You've got, all going through those doors of the ED. You're of the view that management don't have the resources or the ability to work at least on that part of the hospital system.
No, I think they can do. And only a fortnight ago at the Regional Health Forum meeting, I had a motion again calling on CELTA and indeed the HSE to really consider once again, a minor injuries clinic in Donegal. It's a need. It's one that you've just outlined the reasons why. And we have 9 primary care centres across the county, all state-of-the-art, all newly built within the last number of years, and some have just actually opened this year as part of the opening of them. But the unfortunate thing is that we're still down staff in each of those primary care centres. But they would be the ideal places where people with minor injuries would be directed to by GPs if and when the adequate and the necessary resources are put in.
Do you think the management could perhaps work on how people are discharged there, so that when they are fit to go, when they have somewhere to go, that they are discharged rather than waiting for a day or hours and then to be discharged and thus tying up a bed? Or do you think maybe the management could look at, not admitting someone for 3 days when they're not going to be able to get a scan until the Wednesday and they feel perfectly fine, they don't feel the need to be there? Do you not think management could work on things like that would at least ease some of the pressures that are there? Because, it's not all the health minister's fault either.
No, it's not. And in fairness to the management, they have been trying a number of initiatives. Unfortunately, the volume of people that's requiring healthcare service and hospital beds is higher than the hospital beds.
But do you think the management could go into the ED when someone's sitting there waiting on a scan and they're there at 7 o'clock in the evening, and the staff to actually conduct that scan aren't back on duty to 8 o'clock the following morning to go out and say, look at, we actually don't have that scan's not up and running, so you're sitting there really waiting for people to sleep and then coming to work the following morning? Do you think management could be working on things like that as well?
Yeah, and look, and that there is a decision that needs to be taken by healthcare providers, doctors and nurses. I don't know if management would be able to give that direction, but I mean, they could give that direction to the medical staff that if there is a situation where someone is not going to get their scan until the next day, and they're well enough to go home, then they should be directed to go home and come back the next day. But I'll say one thing about that as well, because I've had personal experience of this. I've been told to come back and given an appointment and a time to come back the next day for the procedure or the scan to take place, and having the persons having to sit from at the time they were told from 9 in the morning until the early hours of the next morning before they get into a bed.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do that, Greg, you need to be sure that when you tell a patient that they can go home and come back the next morning, and they'll be seen at the time that they're given, that they are seen.
Do you think management need to give us a bit of explanation as why someone with a suspected miscarriage is going into the ED and not going straight into maternity, or why someone with a card who's a sick cancer patient, why they're being put into ED with a load of people with upper respiratory illnesses that if they catch could kill them? I mean, are those not things that we should be able to hope are addressed locally?
Yeah, and in just recent weeks, I've addressed some of them instances with hospital management in relation to cancer patients who are going in and have the card and then are staying long hours within a very sick emergency department setting and waiting to get a bed. I've been there. I've contacted the hospital about it, and this is how much of a crisis our health service is in. And yes, management need to take responsibility for some of that, but the buck stops at the very top. And the minister's been down and talked, and several ministers have been down and talked. But even you take a look at the diabetes patients, the length of time that we're waiting for proper care for diabetes patients in this county is disgraceful. The same with cancer patients. Our oncology unit is not fit for the amount of patients that we have. Our step-down service is not fit for the amount of patients that are stepping down out of the hospital beds into our community settings. So there's a lot of things wrong in our health service in Donegal, and it's a long time that the minister got up here and done something seriously positive about fixing that.
Right, okay, Councillor, thanks very much for your time. I appreciate you accepting our invite. Councillor Jay McMonigal, who is a Sinn Féin councillor and member of the Regional Health Forum. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts, and this is a story obviously we'll continue with tomorrow, and we've been very busy on the phone lines. LUH is a disgrace. The staff are doing their very best, but it's the management that needs to change. Our mum is nearly 89 and was in a couple of weeks ago. She says she never ever wants to go back to it. A shame on the management. They should step down or be chased. But of course, if you listen to others, they say the management's hands are tied, that this is a funding issue and the health service model, and not necessarily a local management issue. Greg, it's hard to sit all them hours waiting to be seen in ED, but the hardest is small children all being sent through ED. Whoever made that decision It's a disgrace. Children used to be all sent to paediatrics, floor C, not anymore. Hi, Greg. Relating to the ED problems, my husband works in the healthcare system, so has first-hand experience on this matter. He feels that the main cause of backup and delays are that the GPs are referring people unnecessarily to the ED service, therefore causing delays for those who really need treatment. Now, that claim has been made a couple of times as it relates to Now Doc sending people to the ED that don't need to be there, a GP sending people to the ED that don't need to be there. And I spoke to someone who's involved in that within the hospital. And I don't want to use the percentage off the top of my head, but they looked into that because I had read it out in a couple of messages. And the GPs aren't referring more people. You heard from Dr. McGuinness earlier on that that's kind of a little bit of a smokescreen, that it's not all about Now Doc and GPs referring people unnecessarily. Does it happen? I can't say it doesn't happen, but is that what the problem is? My information is from a very reliable source, is that that's not the issue, that the place isn't full of people that don't really need to be there, because the majority are either treated and sent home or admitted into the hospital. Have a lovely day, everybody. Thanks so much for listening to the show, watching the programme. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 9. Stay tuned. John Breslin's up next around the Northwest.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by